Shocking. The top diva became my wife. Yikan, we can't get married anymore. I'm leaving Jiangning City soon. In the ramen shop, Yikan had not yet swallowed the soup in his mouth when Xia An'an said this to him. Cough, cough, cough. Yikan was nearly choked. After catching his breath, Yikan adjusted his glasses, which were slipping down his nose, and stared in shock at Xia An'an, who looked perfectly calm. An'an, I've already given you the 100,000 yuan bride price. We're supposed to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow to register. Are you joking with me? Xia An'an took a deep breath, her eyes filled with a trace of pity for Yikan. I'm not joking with you. We haven't gotten our marriage certificate yet, and I still have time to call off the wedding. Seeing Xia An'an's serious expression, Yikan was completely stunned. An'an, why do you want to cancel the wedding? We agreed that after graduation, I would save 100,000 yuan for the bride price and then would register our marriage and work together to make money, buy a house, and start a family. From university to graduate school, Yikan and Xia An'an had supported each other because they were both poor students. They encouraged each other, worked hard to study, participated in various competitions, and earned national scholarships every year. After graduation, Yikan became an intern doctor in the obstetrics and gynecology department at Jiangning City People's Hospital. Xia An'an, on the other hand, became the secretary to the chairman of the Yuan Group. The Yuan Group primarily deals with Porsche cars and is a big player in the luxury car import industry in China. Due to her job, Xia An'an often interacted with wealthy people, but she had never looked down on Yikan for being poor. She had told him that while other women demanded hundreds of thousands for a bride price, she only needed 100,000 to at least honor the 7 years they'd been together. Yikan cherished the 7 years of their relationship, so he agreed to Xia An'an's request without hesitation. He promised Xia An'an that within a year, he would save up the 100,000 yuan and marry her. Yikan was confident. Most of the national scholarships he had earned during his studies hadn't been spent, and he had worked as a tutor during the holidays. After graduation, he earned an internship salary, and on his days off, he did some part-time jobs to earn extra income. With all his earnings, saving 100,000 yuan in a year wouldn't be a problem. But then, disaster struck. 6 months ago, Yikan's father fell seriously ill and almost drained the family's savings. After his father passed away, his mother remarried and moved away, leaving him to take care of his 6-year-old sister. To keep his promise to Xia An'an, Yikan had to borrow money from his good friends and colleagues, piecing together the 100,000 yuan for the bride price. But why would Xia An'an want to call off the wedding after receiving the bride price? Yikan couldn't understand why Xia An'an was acting so strangely. Xia An'an lowered her head, a hint of guilt in her voice. Let's just let the past be the past. From now on, let's go our separate ways. I can't accept this. Yikan couldn't accept this harsh reality. Xia An'an, irritated by his response, slammed the table in frustration. You'll have to accept it. I'm pregnant with the chairman's child. He's sending me abroad to live. Yikan was struck like a thunderbolt. It took him a while to recover from the shock. An'an, stop joking with me, okay? How could you have a child with a man old enough to be your father? You're not that kind of person. Yikan clearly remembered that Xia An'an had told him before that the chairman of her company was an old man with graying hair, over 50 years old. Whenever they saw news about elderly men dating younger women, Xia An'an would show contempt. She had firmly told Yikan that she hated those kinds of relationships and that she would only love him, her handsome Yikan, for the rest of her life. So Yikan couldn't believe what Xia An'an was saying. Xia An'an sneered, then pulled out a pregnancy test report from her bag and handed it to Yikan. Yikan, you won't believe it until you see it. Here's my pregnancy test. Take a good look. Yikan looked at the report, which stated that Xia An'an was 3 weeks pregnant. The harsh reality hit him like a knife to the heart. Xia An'an, where did that devoted woman who loved you go? We've been together for 7 years. I've always respected you, never even touched you, but behind my back, you're with an old man. And now you're even pregnant. At that moment, Yikan's heart was burning with rage. Xia An'an had completely betrayed him. Old man. The chairman I'm talking about is the new one. His name is Yang Wei, and he's only 27 years old. He has been chasing me for a year. At first, I wasn't interested, but he kept transferring money to my account, buying me luxury goods, even giving me a Porsche. He said once I have the baby, he'll buy me a villa. If I have more kids, he'll buy more villas. So, I started to be tempted. Yikan, you're just a little handsome, but I can't live a poor life with you, let alone support your sister. What Yang Wei can give me, you can't give me anything. Yikan couldn't listen anymore. He grabbed Xia An'an's arm, his face filled with pain. You say I can't give you anything, but you asked me for the 100,000 bride price, and I gave it to you. Xia An'an, stop dreaming about marrying into a wealthy family. Yang Wei is just using you. You've seen the news, right? He has illegitimate children all over the place. Xia An'an shoved Yikan's hand off her face filled with a smug smile. I don't care. I'll have kids for Yang Wei, and he'll give me money, cars, and houses. I've won. That's all I have to say. Don't bother me anymore. Goodbye. With that, Xia An'an turned and walked out of the ramen shop. Yikan immediately ran after her and blocked her way. Since you're going to be Yang Wei's baby-making machine, then give me back the 100,000 bride price. I borrowed that from my friends and colleagues. Xia An'an's face darkened instantly. Yikan, I only asked for 100,000 because I knew that was all you could manage. Don't act ungrateful. Xia An'an pushed Yikan aside and kept walking. Yikan snapped. He grabbed Xia An'an and slammed her against the wall, not letting her move an inch. Give me my money back. Don't make me report you for marriage fraud. Xia An'an wasn't scared at all. She replied confidently, that 100,000 is mine. 7 years with you is my compensation for lost youth. What? Compensation for lost youth? In these 7 years, the closest Yikan and Xia An'an had gotten was a kiss, and every time it was initiated by her. Was that really lost youth? I'll compensate you my ass. Frustrated, Yikan couldn't hold back his curses. He was about to drag Xia An'an to the police station when, out of nowhere, someone kicked him hard. The next moment, Yikan fell heavily to the ground, feeling like his spine was about to snap. Before he could react, the person grabbed his collar and punched him in the face, cursing as they did, "Who the hell are you, daring to harass our Wei Ges woman? I'll beat you to death." Yikan's face was smashed into a bloody mess. On the brink of consciousness, he saw Xia An'an leaning on Yang Wei's arm, sweetly explaining, "My dear Wei Ji, thank you for coming. I just went for a bowl of ramen, and this crazy guy appeared out of nowhere, blocking me and demanding money." Yikan's heart shattered into pieces. That damn Xia An'an, in front of Yang Wei, was pretending like she didn't know him. Yang Wei walked up to Yikan, who was lying on the ground, shivering in pain. He took a 1 yuan coin from his pocket and tossed it onto Yikan's face. "Here's your tip. Should be enough to buy yourself an ice cream." Xia An'an didn't dare look at Yikan. She kept avoiding his eyes filled with hatred. Yang Wei wrapped his arm around Xia An'an and they got into the car, speeding away. Yikan had no strength left to speak. He felt dizzy, as if the world was spinning around him. Just as he was about to give up, a sweet, gentle voice echoed in his mind. Ding! Out with the old, in with the new. Congratulations, host, you've successfully parted ways with the scumbag girl. Your goddess wife will soon be in your arms. Chapter 2, Don't Get Too Excited, Punishment. Yikan was instantly stunned. What, is this my system? He remembered in those online novels, the male protagonist's system was usually a mechanical, old man voice. But his system was a sweet, lady-like voice. Could it be that systems have genders too? Since I was tricked into a fake marriage by a rotten woman, is the system compensating me with a sweet lady system as my wife? System, oh system, don't mess with me like this. Right now, Yikan only had one feeling, he was on the verge of tears. The sweet, lady-like voice spoke again, host has 10 seconds to make a choice. If no choice is made within the time, the system will automatically choose for you. At the same time, 2 options appeared in Yikan's mind: A, accept; B, reject. Yikan was so angry that he almost laughed. How could he treat an invisible and intangible system as a wife? He definitely wasn't accepting it. However, before he could select B, everything went dark, and he fainted. He wasn't sure how much time had passed, but when Yikan groggily woke up, he felt a dull pain in his face. Looking around, he suddenly sat up straight from the bed. The large room was filled with a faint, pleasant fragrance. The floor was covered with an intricately embroidered plush carpet, and the furniture was either encrusted with diamonds or gold, luxurious enough to make one feel as if they were in a palace. He glanced at the transparent wardrobe across the room, which contained elegant and sexy women-esque clothing, and Yikan widened his eyes in shock. What is going on here? How did I end up in a woman-esque room? Yikan swallowed nervously and instinctively lowered his head, only to realize he was wearing nothing at all. He nearly dropped his jaw. Holy shit! Did something happen to me? He immediately thought of a very embarrassing possibility. Seeing his clothes hanging on the nearby coat rack, he hurriedly dressed. What the hell happened? Just as Yikan was trying to remember, the door to the room was gently pushed open. A stunning woman with an aura of coldness walked in. She was wearing a black, form-fitting skirt with a thigh-high slit that showcased her perfect proportions. Her small face, with icy eyes, a delicate nose, and full lips, looked like it had been carefully sculpted. Her long, white legs seemed to glow, and her presence was so powerful that it was almost like she was 1.8 meters tall. Yikan was completely stunned. This woman's beauty completely outshone that rotten woman, Xia An'an, by miles. Even the actresses on TV would pale in comparison to her. Wait, isn't she Su Ling? Yikan finally recognized her Su Ling. Not just him, but perhaps everyone knew who Su Ling was. Su Ling, 22 years old, the top celebrity of her generation. From the ages of 9 to 21, she won a total of 50 gold medals, 7 silver medals, and 3 bronze medals in national and world-level competitions in shooting, fencing, boxing, and freestyle skiing. Not only was she an athlete, but Su Ling was also an academic genius, earning her master's degree from the prestigious Harvard University at the age of 20. On top of her academic and athletic achievements, she had many hobbies, such as off-road driving, horseback riding, rock climbing, piano, vocal music, and dance. In addition to her extraordinary looks and sharp fashion sense, she was a darling of luxury brands, frequently appearing on the covers of fashion magazines both at home and abroad, and strutting the runway at major international fashion shows, exuding charm and overshadowing everyone else. When it came to making money, Su Ling had a sharp business mind. In addition to the dozens of endorsement deals she had, she also made profitable investments in real estate, jewelry, wine, and technology. She was extremely wealthy, and only she knew the true extent of it. Truly a top-tier celebrity, she was far beyond the reach of even the most extravagant heroine in a wish-fulfillment novel. Thinking about Su Ling's dazzling achievements, Yikan felt nothing but admiration and respect. What kind of man could possibly be worthy of a goddess like Su Ling? Yikan never imagined that one day, he would come face to face with the goddess herself. You're awake. Su Ling stopped beside Yikan's bed, her cold eyes staring at him, her voice ice cold. Yikan snapped back to his senses and sat up straight, confused. Miss Su, am I in your room? What exactly is going on here? Su Ling remained as cold as ever, her tone icy as she spoke again. 7 days ago, you collapsed on the roadside, covered in injuries. It was my grandfather who happened to find you and brought you back for treatment. Unfortunately, 2 days ago, my grandfather was diagnosed with late-stage stomach cancer, and he only has about 3 months left to live. Don't ask me why, but for some reason, last night he sent someone to tamper with my food, and when I woke up this morning, I found you sleeping in my bed. At this point, Su Ling stopped speaking. She couldn't remember whether she had done anything inappropriate to the unconscious Yikan. Yikan, upon hearing her words, looked at her with disbelief. So, does that mean we? Shut up. Su Ling sharply interrupted him, not allowing him to finish his sentence. Yikan had no choice but to remain silent. Su Ling sighed, her already cold expression growing even more distant, like a beautiful snow lotus on an icy mountain. My grandfather forced me to marry you. When I asked him why, he didn't tell me. So, to avoid angering my grandfather, I've decided to marry you. We're going to the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow to get our marriage certificate. The thought of marrying Yikan, to satisfy her grandfather's wishes, made Su Ling feel incredibly frustrated. She had investigated Yikan's background, a poor obstetrics and gynecology intern, living with his 6-year-old sister. Actually, this didn't matter much to Su Ling. She wasn't short of money, and she didn't look down on hard-working people from humble backgrounds. But the problem was, Yikan had been beaten so badly that his face was ruined and he was almost unrecognizable. Still, Yikan was quite tall, about 1.87 meters, so he was somewhat of a match for her 1.75 meter frame. But to have an ugly man as her husband, what would happen to her face? But she had no choice but to listen to her grandfather. Yikan was completely shocked by this sudden turn of events. Is this real? It seems that the system didn't want to be my wife, but rather, it gave me a wife for free, the top celebrity Su Ling. I hit the jackpot. System, you really know how to treat me right. After the rotten woman tricked me into a fake marriage, you immediately give me the best wife, a goddess like Su Ling. You're the greatest system in the world. If you had a face, you'd definitely be the most beautiful one among all the ladylike systems. Yikan was overjoyed and silently praised the system. Ding! At this moment, the system activated, and the familiar sweet, ladylike voice echoed in Yikan's mind. Since their host didn't make a choice last time, the system automatically made one for you. Furthermore, after detecting their host's flattery toward the system just now, the system is going to punish the host with the don't get too excited penalty. Don't get too excited punishment. What kind of bizarre punishment is this? Yikan was completely dumbfounded. Chapter 3, I won't serve you anymore. Didn't I faint last time? How could I make a choice? I wasn't buttering you up, system. I was praising you. Yikan protested inwardly, but the system didn't respond. Noticing that Yikan had zoned out, Su Ling furrowed her brows, wondering what he was thinking. Are you listening to me? She asked, her tone cold and sharp, carrying an undeniable sense of pressure. Yikan snapped back to reality, giving Su Ling a slight smile. Miss Su, I was listening. Before Yikan could finish, Su Ling interrupted again. If you're listening, then behave and let me finish. First, our marriage is just a formality. We'll only register and get a certificate, nothing more. Second, after we marry, I'll do whatever I want. You have no say in it. But you can't do whatever you please. Everything will be under my control. Third, our marriage will last only 3 months. Once my grandfather passes, we'll divorce. Fourth, to protect my public image, you must keep our marriage a secret. She was about to continue, but Yikan cut her off with an irritated tone. No more fourth. I refuse all of it. He had already been tricked into a sham marriage by that trashy girl, Xia An'an. Now, he is being given a top-tier goddess like Su Ling as a wife, but only as a nominal spouse. And the worst part, after becoming Su Ling's legally recognized husband, he still couldn't live his own life. He'd have to follow her orders in everything. Was he being made into a puppet? Was he not allowed to touch his own wife but expected to let other men do so? And this 3-month marriage, no dignity, no freedom. Yikan didn't want any part of it. He was a man, for crying out loud. Su Ling, he never expected this top-tier goddess to be so overbearing and domineering behind the scenes. What man could tolerate a wife like this? Turns out their don't get too happy too soon punishment was exactly this. Su Ling didn't expect Yikan to reject her. She was a goddess adored by millions. Men lined up from Jiangning City to France, each 1,000s of times more outstanding than Yikan, all of them bowing down to her while she remained indifferent. But now, when she gave herself to the ugly Yikan as his wife, he actually dared to refuse her. Being her husband meant lying back and living off her. Wasn't he that tempting? Her cold face grew even more aloof, and she glared at Yikan with icy eyes, her voice stern. You don't have the right to reject me. This marriage is a must. There's no room for negotiation. I'll marry whoever I want. I'm not serving you anymore. Yikan was thoroughly enraged. He jumped out of bed and stormed toward the door. Su Ling didn't chase him. She stood where she was, watching his angry departure, shaking her head helplessly. When Yikan made it to the living room, he caught a glimpse of himself in the full-length mirror. He was startled, almost horrified, by the reflection of their once handsome boy now unrecognizable. What the hell, I've been beaten into this state. Spotting a pack of masks on the coffee table, Yikan hastily grabbed one and put it on. He couldn't let people be frightened by his face when he went out. This was all Xia An'an and Yang Wei's fault. They were the ones who ruined him. Enraged and frustrated, Yikan thought about getting revenge. He would make Xia An'an pay back the 100,000 yuan bride price and demand financial compensation from Yang Wei. By the way, Su Ling's house was as massive as a palace. Yikan spent over half an hour walking just to get outside. When he got to the street, he reached into his pants pocket, only to find his phone's screen was shattered, and it wouldn't turn on. Fortunately, he still had 150 yuan in cash in his jacket pocket, money he earned the night before Xia An'an came to call off the wedding by tutoring a child in math. It had been so many days since he'd been home. He wondered how his little sister was doing. Surely, Aunt Wang, their neighbor, had been looking after her. Yikan flagged down a taxi and headed home to check on his sister. However, as soon as he arrived at his doorstep, Aunt Wang rushed over anxiously. "Arkan, where have you been all this time? I couldn't reach you at all." Yikan instinctively pressed his mask tighter, ensuring his face was covered as much as possible. Embarrassed, he replied, "Aunt Wang, it's a long story." "Oh, my sister south at your place, right?" Aunt Wang sighed heavily, wiping away tears. Yesterday, when I went to pick up your sister from kindergarten, she wanted to buy some candied hawthorns. We went to buy them, but as we reached the intersection, a car suddenly sped toward us. The driver must have been drunk or having some kind of mental breakdown. He hit several cars in a row. It was a horrific accident. Your sister was thrown out by the impact, and the driver died on the spot. Yikan was struck like a thunderclap. My sister was in a car accident. How is she now? Yikan felt as though his entire world had crumbled. How could his sister also be in trouble? Aunt Wang sobbed and continued, "Your sister was saved at the hospital, but her lungs were severely damaged. The doctor said if she doesn't get a lung transplant soon, she won't make it." Yikan felt like he had been struck by a bolt of lightning again. Is my sister really going to die? He had already endured so much, and now his sister might be lost too. God, why are you doing this to me? Yikan was on the verge of breaking down. Following Aunt Wang to the hospital, the doctor explained his sister's condition in detail, and Yikan felt his heart wrench with pain. A lung transplant wasn't something simple. They needed to find a suitable donor, which would take time, and even if they found one, the exorbitant cost was far beyond his means. 600,000. For a young intern like him, that was an astronomical amount. He couldn't even dream of coming up with that kind of money. Devastated, Yikan collapsed into a chair in the corridor, his spirit completely crushed. What should I do? Am I really going to lose my sister? For the first time in 27 years, Yikan felt utterly helpless in life. Suddenly, he remembered the system. Aren't other systems supposed to help their hosts with their problems? So, surely mine can too. System, beautiful lady system, come out and help me. The familiar sweet lady's voice came to him, "Dear host, stay calm. Everything will work out in the end." Yikan was frustrated. How can I stay calm? I'm about to lose my sister. What does everything will work out even mean? You're not the one going through this. Yikan seriously began to doubt if his system was just a fake knockoff. Not only was it useless, but it also kept spouting nonsense. Suddenly, a pair of long, white legs appeared in front of him. Yikan froze for a second before looking up. Su Ling. What is she doing here? She still wore that cold, aloof expression, but she calmly spoke. I've already spoken to the doctor about your sister's condition. I can help you find a matching lung for your sister as quickly as possible, and I can cover the cost of the surgery, no need for you to pay me back. Yikan felt like he had just grasped a lifeline, his emotions rising. Is this true? Su Ling nodded. Of course. Yikan was about to breathe a sigh of relief, but then Su Ling added. However, there's a condition, you need to marry me and follow the terms I told you earlier. Otherwise, everything is off the table. Yikan's heart sank. Well. This girl came prepared. Just then, the system's sweet lady voice rang in Yikan's mind again. The goddess wife has returned, and the host still has two choices, A, accept, B, reject. Choose A, and the host will get a big surprise. Choose B, and the host will stay single forever. Damn it. Yikan was done. Was the system in on this with Su Ling? Chapter 4, Rapid Rise in Charisma. Surprise? More like a shock. But now that things had reached this point, Yikan had no choice but to accept. To save his sister, he would have to be a puppet husband to Su Ling, but it was worth it. Just 3 months soon it would be over. After that, he could divorce Su Ling and be free of this humiliation. In this day and age, divorce wasn't something shameful anymore. If you got along, great, but if not, you parted ways. Life was short, you couldn't just sacrifice your happiness. Alright, I accept your terms, Yikan agreed to Su Ling. Su Ling took out 2 copies of the agreement, a pen, and a red ink pad from her bag, handing them all to Yikan. This is the contract. You need to sign it and leave your fingerprint here. After that, everything will follow the terms in the contract, no exceptions. Otherwise, I'll punish you in various ways. Punish me in various ways. Oh great, Su Ling was a sadist. Iken couldn't help but feel miserable, but what could he do? He gritted his teeth and decisively signed the contract, stamping his fingerprint. For a brief moment, it felt like he was signing a contract to sell his soul. Sigh, when you're in the game, you can't avoid the knives. Su Ling put away the signed contract and took out her phone, dialing a number. In a businesslike tone, she instructed, Lily, contact St. John's Hospital in Country A immediately and arrange for a lung match for Yi Xiaomi. Also, make sure to wire 600,000 to Haigang Hospital in Jiangning today. That's for Yi Xiaomi's surgery. 5 minutes after hanging up the phone, a doctor came in with a smile, his eyes full of good news. Mr. Yi, your sister is incredibly lucky. A kind person found a matching lung for her, and they paid the 600,000 for her surgery. The operation will be tomorrow, and her life is saved. Iken was shocked at how fast Su Ling had arranged everything, so fast it left him speechless. This is what a top-tier goddess could do. What she said, she did. All-powerful. Miss Su, thank you, Iken said, though he felt reluctant to sign such an unequal marriage contract. Still, he was truly grateful for what Su Ling had done for his sister. Su Ling remained as aloof as ever, her expression as cold as a snow lotus blooming atop an iceberg. I've done what I promised. Tomorrow, once your sister's surgery is done, you will come with me to the Civil Affairs Bureau and register for marriage. Iken had no choice but to agree. Still, he was curious. Why did Su Ling seem so approachable on screen, yet in real life, she was so cold and unapproachable? Did she think he was an eyesore, only cold and distant because of that? Perhaps she just didn't love him. Iken couldn't help but feel a pang of sadness. But then again, who would want to marry someone as ugly as him? Especially a dazzling goddess like Su Ling. Back in the day, Iken had been quite the handsome, popular guy at school, and many girls had pursued him. But he had been devoted to the manipulative Xia An'an. And look where that had gotten him. Xia An'an had tricked him into marriage, and Yang Wei had beaten him to a pulp. He would definitely make them pay once he finished dealing with all this. The next morning, his sister's surgery was a success, and Iken finally let out a sigh of relief. Su Ling had sent 2 beautiful nurses to look after his sister, and an older driver to take Iken to the Civil Affairs Bureau. Su Ling didn't come along. Well, of course not. She was a goddess, how could she walk alongside a ugly bastard like him? She couldn't afford to lose face. Iken was on the verge of tears. When they arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau, Iken saw Su Ling already waiting. Great. She was truly scheming, even wearing a mask. The staff asked Iken and Su Ling to take off their masks for the wedding photos, but neither of them was willing to comply. We're not taking off our masks. Iken and Su Ling almost said in unison. The staff, seeing their unwillingness, immediately put on a stern face and said, if you want to take off your masks, we can't take your wedding photo. If you don't cooperate, I'll call the next couple. Su Ling had no choice but to take off her mask. The staff immediately recognized her and became excited. Hey, aren't you? Su Ling made a shush gesture to silence the staff, signaling them not to make a fuss. The staff quickly nodded, barely able to hold back their excitement. They didn't call out Su Ling's name, but their hands trembled as they held the camera. Anyone would be excited to meet a goddess in person. Iken hadn't removed his mask yet. He didn't have the courage to. Su Ling shot him an icy look, her voice sharp. Take it off. I'm not afraid, so why should you be? Before Iken could react, she grabbed his mask and yanked it off. Iken's heart nearly jumped into his throat. He closed his eyes tightly, too afraid to look at the shocked faces of the staff, worried they would scream at the sight of his appearance. He even covered his ears, fearing the high-pitched shrieks. After a couple of minutes, Iken noticed something was off. Why was it so quiet around him? He cautiously opened his eyes and saw both Su Ling and the staff staring at him in shock. Su Ling's expression remained cold, but the staff were acting strangely. What was going on? The staff were salivating. What was happening here? Was he so ugly that women were drooling? Iken was stunned. He couldn't help but glance at the mirror on the wall. Holy crap! Was that really him? He looked so handsome. The Iken in the mirror had striking, chiseled features. He had shed the juvenile softness and now carried a cold, sharp aura, while still exuding a quiet, gentle maturity. He looked even more attractive than he did before the accident, and far beyond the looks of male stars like Jin Dong, Peng Yuyan, and Wu Yanzu who were adored by women. Even Yikan was stunned by his own transformation. It was miraculous. How had his appearance changed so drastically? Before he could think too much, the system's sweet, gentle voice rang in his head. Congratulations to the host on marrying the goddess. You've earned a level 1 surprise, rapid increase in charisma. Would you like to accept a level 2 surprise? A. Accept. B. Decline. R. So it was the system's doing. It really was a surprise, not a shock. Yikan suddenly tasted the sweetness, feeling like the system was no longer a shoddy product but a priceless treasure. If there was a level 2 surprise, why not take it? Without hesitation, Yikan chose A in his mind. However, there was no response from the system. Yikan, confused, silently called out, "Hey, big beauty system. You said there was a level 2 surprise. Why haven't you said anything? Talk to me." Chapter 5 Oops. It's a heartthrob. No matter how Yikan called the system didn't make a sound. Su Ling, who had been staring at Yikan, felt like a deer beating in his heart. Oops, it's a heartthrob. How come Yikan suddenly became so handsome? Su Ling had seen many handsome guys, but none of them caught her eye. But it was the first time she saw someone as handsome as Yikan. He was so handsome that she couldn't take her eyes off him. She felt like she had fallen for him. Fortunately, she managed her expression well, otherwise if Yikan saw her being crazy, her top goddess filter would be shattered. Realizing that the atmosphere was still strangely quiet, Yikan waved his hand at Su Ling awkwardly. Su Ling, what's wrong with you? Could it be that you were mesmerized by my gorgeous beauty? Yikan didn't dare to say this. Because he found that Su Ling still had the same iceberg face that hadn't changed for thousands of years, he denied this idea. Su Ling came back to his senses, coughed lightly, and turned his attention to the staff who was still obsessed with Yikan's face. Miss, we have taken off our masks, isn't it time for you to take wedding photos for us? The staff quickly raised his hand to wipe the drool from his mouth, and smiled apologetically at Yikan and Su Ling. Sorry, I was a little out of control just now. But Miss Su and Mr. Yi are really handsome and beautiful, a perfect match made in heaven, I envy them to death. After saying that, she took wedding photos for Yikan and Su Ling neatly. After getting the marriage certificate, Yikan had mixed feelings. From now on, he is a married man. There is nothing wrong with a man getting married first and then starting a career. Unfortunately, he is just a nominal husband. Alas, it is still aggrieved. Forget it, it's just 3 months, I will be free after 3 months. Yikan can only comfort himself in this way. I thought that after getting the certificate, I would have nothing to do, so Yikan prepared to go to the hospital to accompany his sister. Su Ling suddenly called him, "Where are you going?" Yikan answered truthfully, "To the hospital to accompany my sister." Just then, a majestic Rolls-Royce Phantom stopped in front of him. Su Ling commanded, "Get in the car and go home with me." Yikan was stunned for a moment, thinking he had heard wrongly. I am not her nominal husband, why do I have to go home with her? There is no such clause in the post-nuptial agreement. Su Ling thought Yikan did not understand what she meant, so she took the initiative to explain. Your sister has a nurse to take care of her, don't worry. You are my husband now, you have to go home with me. This is an order, you must not disobey. Yikan wanted to refute Su Ling, I went home with you and I couldn't touch you, I might as well continue to live in my shabby rental house. But when he thought that Su Ling spent 600,000 yuan on his sister and saved her life, he could only get in the car obediently. Seeing Yikan sitting in the passenger seat, Su Ling, who was sitting in the back, said in a cold voice, "Who told you to sit there? Sit next to me." In fact, Su Ling's inner thoughts at this time were, this silly brother, he's already my husband, but he still sits so far away, preventing me from appreciating his damn handsome face. Yikan felt that Su Ling was a little abnormal today. He asked him to go home with her and sit next to her. Could it be that he had to sleep with her next to him? Yikan, what are you dreaming about? If you dare to sleep with Su Ling, the Ice Queen, she will beat you to death. Yikan immediately cut off his thoughts. Because he was afraid of being punished for not obeying orders, he still sat next to Su Ling obediently. Seeing Yikan sitting upright and serious, Su Ling wanted to laugh but couldn't. What a silly brother, he didn't dare to touch me even when he was so close to me. Yikan was not afraid to touch Su Ling. His wife was a world-class champion who had won gold medals in boxing, fencing, shooting, etc. Any one of them could defeat him in minutes. He had to save his life to save the dying and the wounded, and make a name for himself in the medical field. Although he was poor, he had a backbone and a man's ambition. Now he was willing to be someone's son-in-law, but it was only temporary due to the situation. The car drove forward steadily, and there was silence in the car. Yikan thought of the 600,000 yuan surgery fee that Su Ling paid for his sister. After all, owing money to others was a heavy heart. After hesitating for a while, he still spoke. Su Ling, you pay the 600,000 yuan for my sister, and I will definitely pay you back in installments. I won't owe you money. Although he was only Su Ling's husband in name, he couldn't be looked down upon by Su Ling. Su Ling didn't expect Yikan to decide to pay her back. After all, she exchanged the conditions of marriage with Yikan and didn't ask Yikan to pay it back at all. Oh, silly brother is poor but ambitious. I underestimated him. I even admire him a little. Su Ling's heart was moved again, but she still kept a cold attitude. You owe me a lifetime. Yikan was confused. What did Su Ling mean by this? What does it mean to owe her a lifetime? Yikan was about to say something, but Su Ling didn't give him a chance to speak. We're home, get off the car. Yikan followed Su Ling out of the car and walked towards the villa. After entering the house, Yikan asked Su Ling seriously to show that he had no improper thoughts about Su Ling. Su Ling, which room should I sleep in? Su Ling was immediately shocked by Yikan's question. He is her husband, of course he sleeps in the same room with her. Such a handsome, tall and mighty brother, if she doesn't keep him by her pillow for herself, should she give him to someone else? She is not that stupid. Su Ling cleared his throat slightly to ease the embarrassment caused by Yikan's question, and said in a cold tone. Sleep in my bedroom. It's not like you haven't slept in it before. Yikan seemed to see countless ellipses flying over his head. Oh, he did sleep in Su Ling's bedroom. However, did he and Su Ling do that night? Yikan was very curious, but he couldn't ask, because asking would be a death sentence. At the same time, Yikan couldn't understand Su Ling's train of thought even more. Did this girl take the wrong medicine today? Why is she the only one who violates the agreement? Doesn't the post-nuptial agreement say that we can't sleep in the same room? Yikan asked. Su Ling locked onto Yikan's deep and charming eyes, his eyes as cold as a cold knife. Yikan felt a chill on his spine when he saw it. Stop talking nonsense, go to my bedroom right away. Su Ling's words were not to be resisted. Yikan immediately shut up and went into Su Ling's bedroom. There were a lot of fitness equipment in the spacious room, boxing targets, boxing gloves, weight belts with chains, sit-up chairs. I remember seeing these the first time in Su Ling's bedroom. The top goddess good figure is trained in this way, fitness is everywhere. Fortunately, Yikan was sober enough, and he kept reminding himself. Maybe Su Ling is testing you to see if you can hold it, you must not be fooled by her. Be calm, and be calm. If you don't want to eat a fist, don't think about eating her. Seeing two pillows on the bed, Yikan took one and put it on the floor. Su Ling sleeps on the bed, he sleeps on the floor. No problem. Su Ling glanced at the pillow on the floor, then looked at Yikan. That look almost wanted to eat Yikan, and scared Yikan's heartbeat faster. It's over, I was really fooled, I can't even sleep on the floor, I shouldn't have come in. Later, she won't tie me to the boxing target with that weighted belt with iron chain, and put on boxing gloves to beat me hard, right? Yikan remembered Su Ling said that if he violated any of the post-nuptial agreements, she would punish him in various ways. There is nothing that the top goddess dare not play. Yikan was still nervous. Su Ling picked up the pillow on the floor and threw it on the bed. Who told you to sleep on the floor? Sleep on my bed. Yikan was even more confused. Su Ling actually wanted him to sleep with her. The system sounded happily at this time, still with that sweet lady's voice. He, congratulations to the host and the goddess on the wedding night. Now reward the host with a second-level surprise, the golden gun is not falling. Yikan almost spit out blood. Chapter 6 There is 100 million in here, your monthly pocket money. I said, beautiful lady system, you and Su Ling are digging a hole for me to jump into, right? Didn't you see that Su Ling was testing me? If I dare to touch her, she can make me practice sword manual of exorcism immediately. I won't fall for your tricks. Yikan complained about the system in his mind. System, it is detected that their host is chattering endlessly. The system will teach their host a lesson, reduce their host's physical value for 5 minutes. Yikan was confused again. What does this mean? And reduce my physical value? Before Yikan had time to question the system about what was going on, Su Ling pushed Yikan down on the bed. At this moment, one of Su Ling's hands was pressing on Yikan's abdomen. Because she was too strong just now, a large part of Yikan's clothes was lifted up. In other words, Su Ling's palm was tightly pressed against Yikan's belly. Her cheeks instantly became hot, her heart was beating like a deer, and her breathing became rapid. OMG! Such firm and perfect abdominal muscles. So charming. I really want to die on this silly brother's abdominal muscles. Su Ling almost screamed out. She had seen various charming male models' abdominal muscles on the catwalk before, but it was the first time she saw such standard abdominal muscles as Yikan's. Yikan's abdominal muscles were truly well defined, and each line was full of man's strength, which was definitely dozens of blocks better than those male models. Woman on top. Man on bottom. This posture. Yikan was shocked by Su Ling's sudden attack, especially when he found that he had 8 abdominal muscles. He was so surprised that he shouted in his heart, "Oh my god! How come I still have 8 abdominal muscles? This body is so damn good looking. Wait, why do I have no strength at all?" Yikan realized that he couldn't move at all. It seems that the system is serious about him and has reduced his physical strength. Beautiful system, you don't want to be like this, okay? You gave me 8 abdominal muscles, but turned me into a little bitch. What if I am really tortured to death by this ice queen? You are my system, how can you push me into the fire pit? Yikan has no resistance at all now. He is anxious, angry and afraid, and he complains to the system. The sweet lady's voice sounded again, their host asked for it. The next time their host complains about the system will stretch out its little fist to punch you, and one punch will make you go back to the pre-liberation era. Yikan was so scared that he quickly gave in. Okay, I won't complain about you, okay. You finally turned me into a handsome guy, can you bear to turn me back to an ugly guy? I wonder if looking at handsome guys can prolong your life? System. Realizing that Su Ling had been holding this action for 5 minutes, Yikan felt that his physical strength had recovered. But in case Su Ling was testing him, he still lay motionless on the bed and didn't touch Su Ling at all. He just carefully reminded Su Ling, "Hey, Su Ling, shouldn't you get off me?" Su Ling came back to his senses. Her face was as red as a ripe apple, and under the soft light, it looked particularly charming. Yikan instinctively rolled his dry Adam's apple, and his body seemed to be on fire. Su Ling actually blushed. Can the Snow Queen blush? However, her blushing look was too provocative, making people feel itchy. Yikan forced himself to keep a clear mind and not be impulsive. Su Ling hurriedly got up from Yikan, sat on the edge of the bed, and began to calm down his excitement. What was I doing just now? How could I be so fascinated by Yikan? I wouldn't really like him, right? But, I don't have any emotional foundation with him, so how can I like him? Su Ling herself couldn't figure out what was wrong with her. She felt like a little confused now. Yikan sat at a distance from Su Ling, cleared his throat and said, "Well, Su Ling, it was an accident just now. I didn't violate the agreement. I think I'd better go out and sleep." After that, Yikan took the pillow and was about to leave. Unexpectedly, Su Ling suddenly ordered, "Lie down." Su Ling regretted it as soon as she said it. Oh my god, what am I doing? Do I really have to sleep in the same bed with Yikan? Is it because I am not charming enough? Why does Yikan look cold and indifferent to me? The problem is, what should I do if I can't control myself? Yikan's heat was completely cooled by Su Ling's icy command. It seems that Su Ling is determined to test me to the end. Forget it, I'll just pretend to be for high. No matter what tricks Xiaoqing uses on me, I will remain unmoved. So, Yikan returned to the bed and lay down with his back to Su Ling. Su Ling didn't say anything else, and she also lay down with her back to Yikan. It was late at night, and Yikan didn't feel sleepy at all. He was restraining the little bug in his heart that made him itchy. It's not easy for a man. There is a beautiful wife lying next to him, but he can't touch her. Su Ling didn't sleep either. She was struggling whether to take Yikan down. Did anything happen between Yikan and me that night? Is my first time still there? If I repeatedly violate the provisions of the post-nuptial agreement, Yikan will definitely think I am a psychopath, and it would be strange if I don't scare him away. But I really like this silly brother, I can't deceive my heart, right? How can I make my love for Yikan seem reasonable and rational? Su Ling fell into deep thought. The long night finally passed. Yikan was glad that he didn't cross the line. He admired himself. Su Ling was also surprised that he didn't touch Yikan again all night. She still had determination. But she made a decision. Seeing Yikan getting up and leaving, Su Ling immediately asked him, "Yikan, where are you going?" Yikan answered truthfully, "I'm going to see my sister first, and then go to work at the hospital where I'm interning. I want to pay back your 600,000 as soon as possible." After paying back Su Ling's 600,000, he and her would be even, and no one owed anyone anything. Who knew that? Su Ling said, "Don't go to work, I'll support you." Yikan was stunned. Did I hear it right? Su Ling said she would support me. She really thought I was a live-in son-in-law. Just as Yikan was about to say something to Su Ling took out a black gold bank card from his bag and handed it to Yikan. "There's 100 million in it, your monthly pocket money." Yikan's jaw almost dropped. Su Ling is too generous, right? 100 million, this is an astronomical figure for Yikan. How many years will it take him to earn so much money? But Su Ling waved her hand and gave him 100 million as a month's pocket money. The top goddess is really rich. Su Ling, thank you for your kindness, but I really can't take your money for nothing. I am a doctor. My duty is to save the dying and the wounded. In addition to making money, I also want to bring health to everyone. This is the meaning of my life. Although I am only your nominal husband, I will never be a useless person who eats soft rice and embarrasses you. I want you to be proud of me." Yikan still resisted the temptation of 100 million and did not take Su Ling's bank card. He didn't want to be looked down upon by Su Ling, let alone by outsiders. Su Ling was deeply shocked by Yikan's words. In the past, those men who pursued her all wanted to gain benefits from her, so she disdained them all. And Yikan was destined to be different from them. This silly brother just has a low EQ, but he is very strong-willed. She didn't like him wrongly. "You are my husband, my money is your money. You can save it if you don't spend it, and use it where you want in the future." Su Ling forced the bank card into Yikan's hand. Yikan was completely confused by Su Ling. Is this girl still thinking abnormally today? I think it's better not to. Yikan didn't want to take the 100 million. There is no such thing as a free lunch these days. He was about to pull out his hand, but Su Ling held his hand tightly. "Yikan, since we are married, let's fall in love, and marry first and then fall in love." Yikan's eyes widened in astonishment. "What did you say?" Chapter 7. Don't think that you are superior to others just because you are the son-in-law of the emperor. Looking at Su Ling's serious little face, Yikan almost doubted whether he was dreaming. Is this still the overbearing queen who forced me to sign those unequal marriage treaties? Didn't she dislike me? Why did she suddenly want to marry me first and then fall in love? Su Ling locked onto Yikan's eyes full of disbelief, and repeated earnestly, "Yikan, since we are married, let's fall in love, and marry first and then fall in love." This was the decision she made after thinking all night. Only by marrying first and then falling in love would her love for Yikan seem reasonable and rational, so that Yikan would not think she was abnormal and avoid her. Yikan could see that Su Ling was not joking with him, and this girl was serious. From a nominal husband to a lover who married first and then fell in love overnight, Yikan didn't know how to face this sudden change. Isn't this too dramatic? If it hadn't happened to me, I would have found it hard to believe that this would happen in real life. Is there any fraud in this? Yikan was worried about this. Trying to calm down his excitement, Yikan cleared his throat and responded to Su Ling seriously. "Our wedding is only 3 months long, and it's unrealistic to fall in love, isn't it?" Su Ling retorted, "Why is it unrealistic? If we don't like each other after 3 months, then we will decisively divorce." In fact, Su Ling hoped that Yikan would like her after 3 months. Only when two people like each other can the marriage be happy and long-lasting. Yikan still think this is a bit outrageous. After all, Su Ling's attitude towards him changed too quickly, and he couldn't help but have doubts. The sweet lady's voice of the system sounded in Yikan's mind at this time. Ding! Does the host accept the goddess wife getting married first and then falling in love? A. Accept. B. No. Yikan asked the system in his heart in confusion. Beautiful lady system, don't rush me to make a choice. Question first, tell me first, is Su Ling digging a trap to test whether I will jump or not? System. Well, it seems that the system is too lazy to answer me. So Yi Can asked again, what will happen if I accept it? What will happen if I don't accept it? The system made a move this time. If their host chooses A, the system will reward the host with a medical gift package. If their host chooses B, the consequences are at their host's own risk. Medical gift package? What will it be? If it can improve my medical skills, I will be a fool if I don't accept it. A. Accept it. Yi Can made a choice. The system reminded Yi Can, host, don't forget to answer your goddess wife. Yi Can met Su Ling's bright eyes full of expectation and nodded. Okay, I promise you. As soon as their voice fell, the system appeared again, this time with a festive bug, and then surprises exploded one after another. Congratulations to their host and the goddess for successfully starting the first day of their married life. Now reward the host. Chinese medicine diagnosis. Acupuncture and moxibustion. Tweener therapy. Sprinkle flowers. He can seem to see a crow flying over his head, leaving a series of ellipsis marks behind. I said, beautiful lady system, are you kidding me? You rewarded me with Chinese medicine skills, where can I use them? I work in obstetrics and gynecology, obstetrics and gynecology, obstetrics and gynecology. The system is very confident, more skills are better than less. The things the system rewards their host are all reasonable and reasonable. Their host must not have any doubts, otherwise the system will punish the host in various ways. Well, you are definitely an incarnation of Su Ling, and you are equally strong. I am a man who does not fight with women, okay? Yi Can is completely helpless against this system. When Su Ling saw that Yi Can agreed to marry her first and then fall in love, the corners of her mouth could not help but rise slightly, and her smile was sweet and lovely. Okay. Then we will officially start dating from today. This was the first time Su Ling smiled at Yi Can, and Yi Can's heart seemed to be sweetened by Su Ling's sweet smile. This little girl looks pretty when she looks cold, but she is even prettier when she smiles. It is not an exaggeration to describe her as a person who can turn everyone upside down. However, Yi Can quickly reminded herself. Don't take Su Ling lightly just because she smiled at you. Maybe what she said about marrying you first and then falling in love is a test to see if you will take advantage of her. Once you lose control, she will definitely make you pay for it. So, you'd better be careful and stop daydreaming. Just survive 3 months and you will be free. Yi Can also smiled at Su Ling and asked Su Ling sincerely, Su Ling, what do you want me to do next? Su Ling was instantly electrified by Yi Can's brilliant smile. She felt numb and numb all over, as if she was going to turn into a cup of honey grapefruit tea. Her heart was beating hard, thumping non-stop. He is so handsome. I am almost electrocuted to death by this silly brother's smile. What should I do? I really want to eat him up in one bite. Calm down, Su Ling, you have to be calm, and leave a good impression on Yi Can. Steadying himself, Su Ling calmly answered Yi Can. You can do whatever you want, it's up to you. However, you are now the son-in-law of the Su family. After getting up in the morning, you have to go with me to say good morning to Grandpa. Yi Can then remembered that he and Su Ling hurriedly got the marriage certificate yesterday, and Su Ling had not had time to take him to meet the people of the Su family. Grandpa Su is the one Yi Can wants to see the most. Yi Can wants to ask Grandpa Su in person why he wants Su Ling to marry him. Okay. I will abide by the rules of the Su family and not cause you any trouble. Since he has become the son-in-law of the Su family, he must follow the rules of the Su family and follow the local customs. Su Ling took Yi Can to Grandpa Su's residence. Halfway through their journey, they ran into several people coming from the opposite side, namely Su Ling's uncle Su Haitao, Su Ling's third uncle Su Haijian, and Su Ling's aunt Su Jin. Su Ling introduced them to Yi Can one by one. Yi Can also greeted them politely one by one. Who knows, Su Haitao mocked Yi Can first. I don't know why my dad likes you, a loser, and insisted that our Lingling marry you. Don't think that you are superior just because you are the son-in-law of the emperor. Losers are always losers. Su Jin immediately echoed Su Haitao, brother, you are right, this kid is a loser, otherwise he can come to our Su family as a son-in-law who eats soft rice. Hey, my second brother and second sister-in-law died early, otherwise, they would definitely oppose our dad to let Lingling marry this loser. Su Haijian, who had been silent all the time, spoke in a sarcastic tone, Lingling is not worried, why are you worried? This loser will only be a son-in-law for 3 months. After 3 months, he will be kicked out by our Lingling. Listening to these guys who looked down on others, Yikan was furious and clenched his hands into fists. Just when he was about to argue with them, Su Ling took the lead to save his face. Uncle, third uncle, aunt, please respect Yikan. Yikan is not a waste, he is an aspiring doctor, and my husband. Yikan was stunned. Did I hear it right? Su Ling not only did not look down on me like her family, but also helped me vent my anger. She is worthy of being my wife, Yikan swoosh. Unexpectedly, as soon as Su Ling finished speaking, a flashy blue Maserati drove into the yard and hit Yikan directly. Chapter 8. This is definitely a biological system. Fuck. Drunk driving? Yikan instinctively ran to the side, fearing that the Maserati would hit him to death. Suddenly, the Maserati made a pretentious turn and stopped. Yikan stood in the corner, panting heavily. He almost died of exhaustion in order to escape. Who is so wicked that he drives like a fool? Yikan couldn't help but curse the driver who hadn't gotten out of the car in his heart. Unexpectedly, an arrogant voice drilled into Yikan's ears. Sister, your vision is not very good. He is just a cowardly waste. Hurry up and dump him. I know a lot of rich people. You can pick whatever you want. A young man in casual sportswear walked towards Su Ling while talking, and stretched out his arm to hug Su Ling's shoulders. Yikan was stunned for a moment. The stinky boy who wanted to hit him to death just now is Su Ling's brother? Su Ling's face turned cold again. She shook off Su Ze's hand and scolded him harshly. Who wouldn't avoid the bad driving you just did? Are you waiting to be hit by you? Hurry up and apologize to your brother-in-law. Su Zhen next to her began to fan the flames. Ling, Ace is a good driver, but your useless husband has never seen the world. He saw a Maserati as if he saw a man-eating monster. Su Haitao and Su Haijian sneered together, expressing their agreement with Su Zhen's statement. Su Ling turned his head to look at Su Zhen, his eyes as cold as a sharp knife. Su Zhen's back suddenly felt cold. Aunt, if you dare to say my husband is useless again, don't blame me for turning against you. Su Zhen had seen the power of her niece before, so she quickly swallowed a few times and shut up. Yikan was too lazy to waste words with that group of people. He walked to Su Ze angrily and ordered, apologize. Su Ze put his hands on his chest and looked at Yikan with a sidelong look, his eyes full of contempt for Yikan. You fight with me. If you can beat me, I will admit that you are my brother-in-law and apologize to you. Su Ling immediately objected, I don't agree. Su Ze, if you don't apologize to your brother-in-law, don't blame me for teaching you a lesson. Yikan has never practiced boxing and is not Su Ze's opponent at all. It is estimated that he will be beaten to a pulp by Su Ze in a few moves. Su Ling doesn't want Yikan to make a fool of himself in public. Yikan was touched that Su Ling always protected him today, which was beyond his expectation. Su Ze knew that Su Ling's boxing was awesome and he was a world-class champion. He didn't dare to compete with Su Ling at all. Whoever competes with his sister is looking for death. However, he just couldn't stand Su Ling finding a loser. How could he, the eldest son of the Su family, recognize a loser as his brother-in-law? Sister, this is a matter between us men. You, a woman, shouldn't interfere. Since you said he is not a loser, let him prove it to everyone. Su Ling angrily refuted Su Ze. You are a professional boxer competing with someone who can't box. What kind of ability is this? Yikan is a doctor and can save lives. Can you? You don't know medical skills. Can I say that you are a loser? Su Ze, Yikan didn't want Su Ling to worry about him anymore, nor did he want to embarrass Su Ling. So, he gently pulled Su Ling's hand and said firmly, Su Ling, don't worry about me. Since my brother-in-law wants to compete with me, I will accept his challenge. Although Yikan didn't know boxing, he was a man and he had to actively fight. Even if he didn't beat Su Ze in the end, at least he tried his best, which is more courageous than retreating at the last minute. Yikan, you don't know boxing, you will definitely suffer a loss if you compete with Su Ze, just ignore him. Su Ling decisively stopped Yikan, she was afraid that Yikan couldn't stand Su Ze's punches. Su Ze laughed loudly, and when he had laughed enough, he began to sneer. Sister, since your husband wants to prove that he is not a waste, then you should give him this opportunity. How about this, since he doesn't know boxing, I won't talk to him about the rules of the arena, he can make any moves, and I will let him hit 3 times first, okay? Su Haitao couldn't help but interrupt, Yikan, your brother-in-law let you hit 3 times in vain, your brother-in-law is so accommodating to you, if you lose again, then you have to kneel down and kowtow to your brother-in-law to recognize him as your master, har har har. The people around him also sneered, waiting to see how Yikan would be beaten by his brother-in-law and kowtow for mercy. Yikan asked Su Ling to step back. This was a duel between men. He had to fight no matter what. Just then, the system came, and a sweet lady's voice sounded. Wow, their host is so manly. He is not afraid of a professional boxer. In view of their host's courage, now reward the host. The powerful King Kong fist. Tai Chi Bagua chain palm. Foshin shadowless kick. 180-degree whirlwind kick. Chinese martial arts are profound and extensive. Please give full play to their host. Yikan was shocked. This is his own system, absolutely his own, so damn awesome. So, he is now a martial arts master. Su Ze was impatient and urged Yikan, hey, don't be stingy like a little girl, hurry up and make a move. Yikan took a deep breath and took a step forward confidently. Su Ling grabbed Yikan's arm with a worried look in his eyes. Yikan smiled warmly at Su Ling. Don't worry, your husband won't embarrass you. After speaking, he took away Su Ling's hand and reminded the complacent Su Ze, hey, you said let me make a move first, if you can't even handle one of my moves, apologize to me immediately. Su Ze responded with disdain, Yikan, you are really dreaming, after 3 punches, I will show you what a waste you are. Without waiting for Su Ze to react, Yikan punched Su Ze. The next second, Su Ze soared into the air, flew directly 100 meters away, and then fell into the swimming pool. Su Ze climbed up the shore panting, his head buzzing, blank, and dizzy. This time it was his turn to be confused. Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? Everyone was dumbfounded. Yikan is too awesome, right? One punch knocked the professional boxer Su Ze away. You know, Su Ze is also a star who has won many national medals. How can he be so vulnerable in front of Yikan? Su Ling was so shocked by Yikan's level that she didn't come back to her senses for a long time. She had clearly investigated Yikan's information. Yikan didn't know anything about boxing, but just now, seeing Yikan's move, it was obvious that he was a martial artist. How many surprises does this silly brother have that I don't know? I am really getting more and more interested in him. Su Ze, accept the loss and apologize to your brother-in-law quickly. Su Ling came to Su Ze and asked Su Ze to keep his promise. Su Ze didn't expect that he couldn't even resist Yikan's punch. Isn't this a cowardly loss? He was not convinced and simply played tricks. Come on, teach this waste a lesson for me. Immediately afterwards, dozens of Su Ze's bodyguards rushed towards Yikan in a black mass. Chapter 9, Can't Survive Tonight. Yikan quickly pushed Su Ling aside, walked forward without hesitation, and punched the bodyguard in the stomach in the front. Then, all the people behind the bodyguard instantly flew out in all directions like a bomb exploded, and fell heavily to the ground. Huh! Hitting the bull from behind the mountain? Seeing the spectacular scene in front of him, Yikan was stunned. Good guy, he killed everyone with one punch. Yikan couldn't help but admire the system in his heart. Big beauty system, you are so awesome. According to the few sets of kung fu you rewarded me, won't I be invincible in the world in the future? Does it mean that in the future, I don't have to be afraid of Su Ling anymore and can completely conquer her? The system popped up a big hammer in Yikan's mind, and then, bang! It hit the blank space. Yikan also heard the loud noise, which scared Yikan a lot. Big beauty system, what are you doing? Want to hit me? System, I'm not going to beat you. The system rewards you with martial arts for legitimate defense, not for you to use it on your goddess wife. Your martial arts will not work on your goddess wife. Yikan sighed helplessly, sure enough, you women are of one mind, joining hands to make me a little submissive. Pervert. Par. The system printed a red slap mark in Yikan's mind. Yikan felt that countless ellipses flew over his head. I'd better not have any illusions about Su Ling, and continue to be for high. It's important to save your life. The bodyguards who were knocked to the ground by Yikan rolled and shouted in pain, unable to fight Yikan anymore. Su Ze almost doubted whether he was dazzled. Is Yikan so awesome? Originally, Su Ze thought that there was strength in numbers. If dozens of people went together to deal with Yikan, wouldn't Yikan be turned into a meat pie? But he was slapped hard in the face by Yikan again. This time he lost face without a trace. Su Haitao, Su Haijian, and Su Jin, who had been laughing at Yikan at the beginning, now shut up and just stared at Yikan with their eyes wide open in disbelief. Everyone was extremely nervous. They were afraid that if they were not careful, they would be beaten by Yikan. Su Ling did not expect that Yikan was actually very good at martial arts. Could it be that this silly brother was really a hidden talent? How can I conquer him in the future when he is so strong? No, he should conquer me. Being conquered by such a handsome brother with 8-pack abs must be addictive, right? Su Ling was distracted. Countless indescribable images flashed through her mind, even beyond time and place. The more she thought about it, the more she blushed and her heart beat, and the more she looked forward to it. But when will he be willing to conquer me? It seems that I have to work harder and make him like me as soon as possible. Retracting his thoughts, Su Ling coldly ordered Su Ze, if you are willing to accept the loss, be a man and apologize to your brother-in-law immediately. Su Ze was not convinced. He looked at Yikan fiercely. You wait. After that, he left in embarrassment with those cowardly bodyguards. The three people who looked down on others also took the opportunity to slip away. Su Ling apologized to Yikan. Yikan, my brother was spoiled by my grandfather. He has no respect for his elders. Don't be angry with him. I will teach him a lesson later. And those relatives I just mentioned, they have always been thinking about the Su family and my personal assets, and they always look down on me. In fact, those words that mocked you were said to me, don't take it to heart. Yikan smiled at Su Ling, I'm fine, just don't get angry. Do I have to bite the dog back if I am bitten by a dog? In order to give Su Ling a face, Yikan didn't say this. However, thinking about how Su Ling was targeted by those elders who looked cunning and treacherous in the Su family, Yikan felt sorry for Su Ling's situation. This girl is so outstanding, but she doesn't seem to be happy. It's not easy. Yikan, you just made me proud. You made everyone look at you with new eyes. When Su Ling said this to Yikan, his eyes were particularly clear and showed a little admiration. Yikan rarely heard Su Ling praise him, and he immediately felt proud. However, he did not show his inner joy, but pretended to be calm and asked, really? He is a man, especially the man of the top goddess Su Ling, he must manage his emotions and be more stable and mature. Su Ling smiled and nodded, of course. Yikan was fascinated by Su Ling's sweet and clean smile again, and his heart was beating like a deer. This girl is so damn beautiful when she smiles. My heart is almost melted by sweetness. I really want to hug her. I guess I will feel numb when I hug her small waist. Go away, Yikan, what are you thinking? Perhaps Su Ling is testing you everywhere. You have to be cautious, and cautious again. Do you understand? Realizing that he had thoughts that he shouldn't have, Yikan immediately stopped. Su Ling, since I am your husband, I will protect you and never let anyone bully you. Yikan said this in a very manly way. Su Ling felt more secure after hearing this. She took Yikan's hand and smiled. Let's go and say good morning to Grandpa. Yikan was dizzy. Am I dreaming? Su Ling actually held my hand. Her little hand was so soft and warm that it warmed my heart. The sky was so blue, the sun was so warm, the wind was so gentle. Su Ling ran in front, and Yikan followed behind. This beautiful scene made Yikan feel like he was back to his youth, running in the wilderness full of flower fragrance, free and happy. When he came to the living room of Mr. Su, Yikan did not see Mr. Su. The housekeeper came over to greet Su Ling and Yikan. Good morning, miss, good morning, son-in-law. Su Ling asked the housekeeper, Auntie Wang, where is my grandfather? The housekeeper answered truthfully, Miss, the master is in the study. Su Ling said he knew and asked the housekeeper to go and do his own things first. Yikan was puzzled. Su Ling, didn't you say that grandpa had stomach cancer? Why didn't he go to the hospital for treatment? Su Ling sighed lightly. It's not that I didn't persuade my grandpa, but he just didn't want to stay in the hospital. He said that he wanted to spend the rest of his time at home quietly. I don't want to make grandpa angry, so I can only let him do it. It can be seen that Su Ling has a deep relationship with Mr. Su. Yikan envied Su Ling for having a grandfather. His grandfather died before he was born, and he had never seen what his grandfather looked like. Let's go, I'll take you to see grandpa. Su Ling led Yikan to the study. Standing at the door of the study, Su Ling raised his hand and knocked gently. Soon, Grandpa Su came over and opened the door. When Yikan saw Grandpa Su, there was a sudden boom in his head, as if he had opened his eyes. Then, he saw Grandpa Su's internal organs and the direction of his meridians. Huh? What's going on? How do I have the ability to see through things? Yikan was still confused, and Su Ling pulled Yikan's sleeve. Yikan, say hello to my grandpa quickly. Yikan regained his composure and greeted Grandpa Su politely. Grandpa, good morning. Grandpa Su nodded slightly, unsmiling. Come in. At this moment, Yikan could still see everything in Grandpa Su's body, and the more he looked, the more he felt something was wrong. So, he couldn't help but say, Grandpa, you don't have stomach cancer. I can cure your disease. And you must be cured now. Grandpa Su was stunned. Su Ling thought Yikan was joking and criticized him coldly. Yikan, don't talk nonsense, apologize to Grandpa. Yikan said seriously, I'm telling the truth. I can really cure Grandpa's disease. If Grandpa doesn't accept my treatment now, he won't survive tonight. Chapter 10. The system of the beautiful woman crashed. Just then, Su Haitao, Su Haijian, and Su Zhen also came to greet Mr. Su, and they just heard what Yikan said. Su Haijian angrily accused Yikan, you stinky boy, you dare to curse my father to death, are you tired of living? Su Zhen also echoed, get out of my father's study quickly, don't be unlucky here. Su Haitao directly ordered arrogantly, come on, take this nonsense stinky boy down and slap his mouth. With Mr. Su present, they have confidence and are no longer afraid of Yikan. Mr. Su, who had been silent all the time, suddenly spoke, shut up. The surroundings were suddenly silent. Su Ling tugged at Yikan's sleeve again, urging Yikan, hurry up and apologize to my grandfather, otherwise, my grandfather will break your legs. Grandpa Su has many masters under his command, and Yikan may not be able to deal with them. Yikan was sweating for Grandpa Su's life. He told Su Ling anxiously, I didn't lie to you. Grandpa really doesn't have stomach cancer. There is a blood vessel near his heart that is about to burst. If he doesn't take treatment measures, he really won't survive tonight. At this moment, what Yikan saw was that the blood vessel near Grandpa Su's heart was getting bigger little by little, which was shocking to Yikan. Su Ling saw that Yikan was very anxious and felt that he was not joking, so he persuaded Grandpa Su, Grandpa, Yikan is a doctor after all, he should not lie, otherwise, you can let him take a look at you, okay? Su Zhen couldn't listen anymore, and said to Su Ling in a sarcastic tone. Hey, Zhen, if you want to protect your poor doctor husband, you shouldn't curse your grandfather to death, right? That's my dad, if my dad was killed by your poor doctor husband, can you afford to pay for that life? Su Haitao also criticized Su Ling, Lingling, this poor boy is an intern in obstetrics and gynecology will only help women deliver babies in the future. Do you really think he is a miracle doctor? You curse your grandfather to death like him. Are you worthy of my father raising you for so many years? Su Haijian added fuel to the fire, Lingling, you are really heartless. Without my father spending so much money to cultivate you, you can't be where you are today. Don't be an ungrateful person if you have a husband who can deliver your baby in the future. Although they said Su Ling was worthless, what they really thought in their hearts was all presented in the form of text in their brains, and was seen clearly by Yikan. None of the three people who looked down on others did not hope that Mr. Su would die earlier, so that they could share Mr. Su's property earlier, and then join hands to squeeze Su Ling and take away everything from Su Ling. What a bunch of beastly dogs. It is a big failure in the life of Mr. Su to have children like you. Yikan silently felt sorry for Mr. Su. Before Su Ling could argue with them, Yikan took the lead and said, if you really want to do this for Grandpa's sake, then let Grandpa get treatment quickly and don't use my wife as a weapon. My wife is so outstanding, you are not even as good as her. Su Ling saw Yikan defending her, and he couldn't help but feel a sense of admiration in his heart. Silly brother is speaking for me, he calls my wife, so gentle and a good man. Grandpa Su originally wanted to wait for everyone to greet him and then quietly read a book in the study. Now, everyone in the room is noisy and there is no peace. Especially this ignorant Yikan, who actually said that he would not survive tonight. Isn't this obviously cursing him to death? Unable to bear it any longer, Grandpa Su shouted, drag Yikan down and beat him with 100 strokes of the cane. A group of tall and strong men in suits rushed up and dragged Yikan out. The three people who looked down on others all smiled smugly, waiting to see Yikan's buttocks bloom. Su Ling quickly pleaded for Yikan, Grandpa, Yikan is a doctor after all, how could he hurt you? Even if you don't believe it, you won't beat him, you can go to the hospital for another checkup. Grandpa Su felt that Su Ling was in love and was too lazy to listen to Su Ling's explanation. If you plead for that brat again, I will give him another 100 strokes of the cane. Su Ling knew that Grandpa Su would keep his word, and in order to let Yikan suffer less physical pain, she said nothing more and could only persuade Yikan. Yikan, you should apologize to Grandpa quickly, and you won't be beaten if you admit your mistake. Yikan could still see the blood vessel closest to Grandpa Su's heart, which had been stretched bigger and bigger, and the blood vessel wall was almost transparent. If he delayed any longer, Grandpa Su would not survive tonight. Grandpa, please trust me once. Saving your life is the most important thing. Yikan's voice was raised 8 degrees in anxiety, but he couldn't break free from those people. They were all masters with great strength, and he was at a disadvantage. Old Master Su simply got angry. Give him 200 strokes. Hit him hard. See if he dares to talk nonsense again. After speaking, Old Master Su slammed the door and refused to see anyone. Yikan was tied to a bench, face down. To prevent Yikan from shouting when he was beaten, they also blocked Yikan's mouth with tape. The 3 people who looked down on others were very happy. Because they knew that when Yikan was beaten, Su Ling would feel pain in his heart. The son-in-law had just arrived and made the old man unhappy. It was really embarrassing. Let's see how this little girl can hold her head up in the Su family in the future. Yikan is not an iron wall, how can he bear 200 lashes? I guess his buttocks will be broken if he is beaten with 50 lashes. If he is beaten with 200 lashes, he will die. System, beautiful system, why don't you save me? I want to save the old man with good intentions, but I am beaten into a pulp. Aren't those Chinese medicine skills rewarded by you? I will use them soon, why don't you let me use them? Are you kidding me? Yikan kept calling the system in his heart, hoping that the system would come out to protect him immediately. System. Seeing that the system had ellipsis again, Yikan was furious. What do you mean? Do you really want to see me being beaten to death for my kindness? System. Fuck. Beautiful, you are not going to freeze, are you? You are letting me down at the critical moment. Yikan's lungs are about to explode. Click. Someone untied Yikan's belt. The next second, Yikan clearly felt a chill on his butt. The heavy board drew a huge arc in the air and was swung up. Okay. If I don't go to hell, who will? 18 years later, I am still a good man. Yikan gritted his teeth, closed his eyes, and waited for the coming of skin and flesh. No. Just when the board was about to fall, Su Ling rushed forward without hesitation. Seeing that the board was about to hit Su Ling's waist, the housekeeper ran out in a hurry, shouting, "No! No!" The master fell to the ground and convulsed. Yikan reacted quickly and yelled, "Untie me quickly, let me go in and save Grandpa." Chapter 11 Being targeted. The situation is critical now. The huge Su family has only Yikan as a doctor, and everyone can only pin their hopes of saving Grandpa Su's life on Yikan. The untied Yikan followed the housekeeper and hurried to the study room. As expected, Mr. Su lay on the ground, twitching constantly, his face gradually turned pale, and his breathing became weaker and weaker. Su Ling was afraid that Mr. Su would really die, so she urged Yikan anxiously, "Husband, didn't you say you could cure Grandpa's illness? Please save Grandpa quickly, Grandpa can't just die like this." At this moment, the only person Su Ling could trust was her husband Yikan. Yikan saw that Su Ling's clear eyes, which were shining with tears, were full of dependence on him, and she had just called him husband affectionately in front of everyone. This shocked Yikan deeply. It turned out that the top goddess also had fragile moments, and would become a gentle and helpless little woman who needed the protection of a man. Yikan responded to Su Ling in a firm tone, "Don't worry, wife, with your husband here, Grandpa will never be in trouble." After speaking, he lowered his head and began to rescue Mr. Su. The cause of Mr. Su's illness was what Yikan had said before, that is, the blood vessel close to their heart was about to burst. Therefore, we only need to find the corresponding acupuncture points and let the operation of that blood vessel return to normal. Yikan's fingers came to Grandpa Su's Jichuan acupuncture point. This acupuncture point is in the middle of the armpit. Ji means high place, and Quan means spring water, which means that the heart starts to supply blood to their whole body from Jichuan. Its main function is to relieve tension, dry throat, and arrhythmia. Then we came to Shaohai acupuncture point. This acupuncture point is on the elbow crease. Its main function is to nourish yin and reduce fire. It can treat insomnia, irritability, swollen and painful gums, and tinnitus. Then we came to Shenmen acupuncture point. This acupuncture point is on the wrist crease. Its main function is to calm the mind and stabilize the spirit. It can treat insomnia and forgetfulness caused by malnutrition of the mind or hyperactivity of heart fire. Finally, we came to Xiaofu acupuncture point. This acupuncture point is on the palm of the hand. Its main function is to clear the heart and eliminate irritability. You can repeatedly massage these acupuncture points of Grandpa Su for 5 minutes. Gradually, Grandpa Su's spirit eased and his breath returned to a stable state. Su Ling leaned over and asked Grandpa Su nervously, "Grandpa, do you feel better now?" Grandpa Su nodded and said in a low voice, "I'm much better." Yikan lifted up one of Grandpa Su's arms and said seriously, "Grandpa, if you feel strong now, then follow me and try to stand up." Grandpa Su stood up from the ground with the help of Yikan. Yikan asked Grandpa Su again, "Grandpa, can you walk around and see?" Grandpa Su tried to walk a few steps, and soon, he felt as light as a swallow and as fast as flying, as if he had returned to the age of 18 and had a second spring. Huh! It's amazing, why am I not heavy at all? Oh, so smooth. Okay, let's go. Grandpa Su was in a good mood and couldn't help but practice Tai Chi, which also had its own bug, and his movements were as smooth as flowing water, and he was steady and powerful when he attacked. You know, before Yikan cleared those meridians, he even had difficulty walking. Want to practice Tai Chi? It's just a foolish dream. Unexpectedly, someone came in to report, "Sir, Director Shen from Guangren Hospital is here and said he wants to see you." Grandpa Su asked someone to bring Director Shen in. After seeing Grandpa Su, Director Shen apologized to Grandpa Su first. "I'm sorry, Uncle Su, when we were re-examining a patient with the same name as you today, we found that he had taken the wrong examination form. In fact, you don't have stomach cancer." After that, Director Shen took Grandpa Su's examination form out of his bag and handed it to Grandpa Su. Sure enough, the examination form showed that Grandpa Su did not have stomach cancer, but there was a problem with the blood vessel close to the heart, exactly as Yikan said before. Grandpa Su shook Yikan's hand gratefully. "Arkan, I'm sorry. I misunderstood you before and almost hit you. Thanks to you for saving me this time, otherwise, I would have died." Yikan looked at the energetic old man Su and felt a sense of accomplishment. Because he saved a life. It's great to be a doctor, doing good deeds and accumulating virtue. Yikan once again felt proud to be a doctor. "Grandpa, I'm relieved that you're fine. I'll give you a few more massages regularly, and then you can listen to the old Chinese medicine doctor's advice on diet and life rhythm, and your body will be completely recovered." At the same time, Yikan thanked the system in his heart. "Thank you for rewarding me with those Chinese medicine skills, which really came in handy. Saving a life is better than building a 7-story pagoda." The system responded with that sweet lady's voice, "As long as the host performs well, the system will have more rewards. Please keep working hard." Yikan assured the system, "Don't worry, beautiful system, I will definitely work hard. If I don't work hard, I will look down on myself." The system popped up a little red flower in Yikan's mind. "Here, flowers are for you, work hard." Yikan was very happy. Su Ling saw the lively old man Su, and the big stone in his heart finally fell to the ground. She expressed her gratitude to Yikan, "Husband, thank you." When Yikan heard Su Ling calling him husband again, his whole body was warm, and he felt like he was melted by Su Ling's call of husband. How strange, why do I feel so happy? Yikan felt a little dizzy, the kind of dizziness that seemed to be stepping on colorful clouds. He touched the back of his head shyly. Wife, this is what I should do, we are family." Suddenly, he remembered the scene when Su Ling rushed to him and wanted to take the board for him. He asked Su Ling with concern, "By the way, wife, are you hurt?" Su Ling's mouth corners curved slightly, and he shook his head, "I'm fine, don't worry about me." At this moment, Su Ling's heart seemed to be filled with honey, so sweet. "Did you hear Su Ling, silly brother calling you wife, so kind, so gentle, so loving, he cares about you so much. You must be extra nice to your silly brother in the future, understand?" Su Ling is looking forward to her and Yikan's future love life, and is looking forward to it. The three people who look down on others never expected that Yikan is so awesome, and obstetrics and gynecology in turn who delivers babies for women, can actually pull old man Su back from the brink of death. Old man Su is so vigorous, I'm afraid he has lived for many years. They don't know when they can get the family property they are thinking about all day long, and it will be a long time before they can drive away Su Ling, the little girl, and occupy her wealth. All this is to blame Yikan, the stinky boy, for getting involved. Yikan saved old man Su, which is a great contribution to the Su family, which means that the Su family will have one more person to compete with them for the family property in the future. This is unreasonable. We must not let this stinky boy make trouble in the Su family. Immersed in joy, Yikan did not notice that he had been targeted by the three people who looked down on others. Chapter 12 is all preheating. Yikan saved Mr. Su's life, and Su Ling was proud of her husband from the bottom of her heart. Seeing the three people who looked down on others were about to leave in disgrace, Su Ling hurriedly called them, "Uncle, third uncle, little aunt, don't leave." Su Haitao, Su Haijian, and Su Zhen stopped, and their faces were longer than Chanbai Mountain. Su Ling walked up to them, staring at them with cold eyes, and his voice was extremely cold. "You belittled my husband before, but in fact, my husband has made great contributions to the Su family and saved my grandfather's life. You have to apologize to my husband." Su Haitao righteously refuted Su Ling, "Lingling, we are the elders of you and Yikan. You want us elders to apologize to Yikan, a junior? How can it be disgraceful?" Su Zhen followed and echoed, "That's right. I think you married a son-in-law and forgot your mother." Su Haitao did not forget to interject, "Isn't Yikan a doctor? It's the doctor's duty to save people. What's so great about it? Fuck." Yikan couldn't help but swear in his heart. This dog-eyed trio is not only dog-eyed, but also unreasonable. Yikan's three views were almost shattered by them. In order to prevent Su Ling from getting angry, Yikan stepped forward to persuade Su Ling, "Wife, as long as Grandpa is fine, you don't have to argue with them, it's just a waste of your precious brain cells." Su Ling couldn't swallow this breath. Her husband had made her proud, so she could still let him be bullied. "No way. My patience is limited. Apologize to my husband quickly. Otherwise, I will be rude to you." Su Ling's face was already quite cold, and it was an order. At the same time, she clenched her fists, and because of the force, each finger made a crisp and powerful sound. Don't forget, she is a world-class boxing champion. If she punches down, no one can bear it. Of course, Su Ling just wanted to scare them and let them apologize to Yikan. The dog-eyed trio quickly hid behind Grandpa Su. Su Haitao complained to Grandpa Su, "Dad, you don't care about Lingling. This little girl wants to beat us for her husband." Grandpa Su shouted expressionlessly, "It's your fault. Apologize to Aiken." The three people who looked down on others were dumbfounded. Even Grandpa Su was angry with Yikan. That little boy was just a poor son-in-law. They are the old man's biological children. Even if they were dissatisfied, the three people who looked down on others had to listen to the old man and said to Yikan in unison, "I'm sorry. Grandpa Su is the head of the Su family and holds great power. They can't afford to offend anyone but their father. Otherwise, they will get out of the Su family and beg on the street in a minute. Louder. It's like a mosquito buzzing, who can hear it?" Grandpa Su was dissatisfied with their insincere apology to Yikan, and their voice was so low that only they could hear it. The three people who looked down on others had to raise their voices, "I'm sorry." Yikan was very happy. But he didn't show it on the surface, but responded to them very politely, "It doesn't matter, it's all misunderstandings, the most important thing is that the family is harmonious." The three people who looked down on others just nodded at Yikan perfunctorily, laughed, and didn't say anything. In fact, Yikan had already seen their true thoughts floating above their heads. Who the hell is your family? Just a son-in-law who eats giggles. For the sake of Grandpa Su and Su Ling's face, Yikan was too lazy to bother with these rubbish. In order to thank Yikan for saving his life, Grandpa Su asked Yikan seriously, "Arkan, you saved my life, tell me, what reward do you want?" Yikan was flattered. "The old man wants to give me a reward. And I have to ask for it myself. But, Su Ling just gave me 100 million this morning. I didn't want it, but she insisted on giving it to me. If I ask the old man for reward again, will it make me look too greedy? I guess Su Ling will look down on me, right? Or maybe the old man is testing my character." Yikan's mind turned quickly, thinking about what he should do. Finally, he smiled and answered the old man, "Su, Grandpa, I am the son-in-law of the Su family and a doctor. It is my duty to cure diseases and save lives. Your health and longevity are the greatest reward for me." The system sounded at this time, and the sweet lady's voice sounded quite pleasant. "Perfect. You are worthy of being the host of this system. Your character is awesome. Based on a host's ability to cure diseases and save lives, and to give the goddess wife a sense of security, the host is now rewarded with the following skills: neural sheath tumor resection surgery, heart bypass surgery, heart transplant surgery. One after another, surgical skills exploded like a sponsor smashing a golden egg, and all that awaited Yikan were unexpected surprises. Wow! Big beauty system, you are simply a worm in my stomach, and all these surgical skills are what I particularly want to master. These three are among the top 10 most difficult surgeries in the world. Neurosheath tumor resection is a type of surgery in the oncology department. This disease is more common in people aged 30-40, and most of them are in the area of the posterior root of the spinal nerve. And this disease is also closely related to the spinal cord, so during surgery, more attention should be paid to the location and shape of the tumor to avoid repetitiveness. Heart bypass is a type of surgery in the field of surgery, cardiac surgery. This disease is more common in the middle-aged and elderly population, mainly caused by overeating, overwork, excessive smoking. It is caused by drinking, so it is necessary to use a heart bypass to treat it. This surgical method is to connect the human blood vessels to the aorta at the distal end of the artery, and then allow blood to flow to the ischemic position, thereby improving the symptoms of insufficient blood supply to the heart and angina pectoris. Heart transplant surgery is mostly suitable for people with heart failure and primary cardiomyopathy such as cardiomyopathy and congenital heart disease. This surgery requires removing the donor's heart and suturing it into the patient's chest cavity, thereby prolonging life. However, this surgery has a very serious rejection reaction, so more than 80% of people survive for about 2 years after surgery. If this reaction is controlled, it can be extended to about 10 years. The system responded to Yikan. The rewards given to their host before are all warm-up, and the ones from now on are considered to be entering the topic. The better the host's performance, the higher the reward level. Please cherish this hard-won skill, save more people, and accumulate more virtues. Yikan happily negotiated with the system. Of course. My ambition is to become a great doctor famous all over the world. However, the beautiful lady system, you have already given me 3 of the world's top 10 most difficult surgeries. Can you give me the remaining 7 as well? You said that it is better to have more skills than less. The system immediately criticized Yikan. Don't be greedy. If you are greedy, you will get your reward back. Well, you are the system, you are the boss, and whatever you say is what it is. Just treat me as if I didn't say anything. Yikan had to shut up. Su Ling was extremely satisfied with Yikan's answer, and she appreciated Yikan even more. Silly brother is good, not greedy at all. I will reward silly brother alone later. Grandpa Su smiled with relief. Then, he gently patted Yikan's shoulder and said earnestly, Arkan, I really didn't make a mistake about you. I made the right decision to let Ling Ling marry you. Speaking of marrying Su Ling, Yikan asked Grandpa Su in confusion, by the way, Grandpa, why did you insist on letting Su Ling marry me? Chapter 13 Husbands are meant to be spoiled. You know, the Su family has a very important position in the entire Jiangning City, and Su Ling is a top goddess. If Grandpa Su wants to find a son-in-law for Su Ling, the people pursuing Su Ling can line up from Jiangning City to France. There are a lot of rich and noble people. Why choose Yikan, a poor boy with no name and no status? If you want to get married, why only maintain a marriage of 3 short months? For this question, not only Yikan wants to know the answer, Su Ling wants to know more. So, Su Ling also asked Grandpa Su in confusion, Yes, Grandpa, why did you insist on letting me marry Yikan? Grandpa Su raised his head, reached out and touched his long beard, his eyes meaningful. Well, I can't answer you for the time being. Yikan was puzzled. Grandpa, why can't you answer? Su Ling also looked at Grandpa Su with a puzzled look. Grandpa Su only said one sentence, the secret cannot be revealed. The secret of heaven cannot be revealed. Is it so profound? Yikan felt more and more that it was not so simple for Grandpa Su to let him marry Su Ling. There must be another mystery. Beautiful system, come out and tell me why Grandpa Su asked me to marry Su Ling? The next second, the system criticized Yikan. Does their host have no ears or no brains? Didn't the old man say that the secret of heaven cannot be revealed? Yikan asked the system back, Hey, beautiful woman, you are my system, shouldn't you tell me the secret here? The system was too lazy to answer Yikan, and a hammer popped up in Yikan's mind, meaning, I tell you a hammer. Yikan was speechless, and felt that countless ellipses flew through his head. When Grandpa Su saw that Yikan did not ask for a reward, he appreciated Yikan a little more. Then, he took out a bunch of keys from the drawer and handed them to Yikan. Arkan, you saved my life, I should reward you. So, I will give you a villa in Beehigh Garden. Take it, here is the key. Yikan stared at the serious old man Su in shock, and said in disbelief, Grandpa, you said you would give me a villa. Old man Su nodded solemnly, yes, this is the key, don't stand there, take it quickly. After that, old man Su stuffed the key into Yikan's palm. Oh by gar. Am I dreaming? My goddess wife gave me 100 million in front, and my goddess grandfather gave me a big villa in the back. A villa in Beehigh Garden is worth more than 1 billion at random, and its value is still rising. Even if it is sold now, it can make a lot of money. If I accept the reward from the old man, I will really become a billionaire with a net worth of more than 1 billion. Is it true that a big pie fell from the sky and hit me? Yikan was so excited that he felt a little dizzy, and felt that he was not living in reality. The problem is, all this came too easily, right? There is nothing strange? No, Yikan, you must stay calm and don't be confused by the temptation in front of you. Things that are easily obtained are often not as simple as they seem on the surface. How can you become a winner by lying down in life? Don't fall into any traps, it is better to be cautious. Yikan quickly sobered up and returned the key to Grandpa Su. Grandpa, thank you for your kindness, I appreciate it. I am Su Ling's husband now, not a waste who comes to the Su family to eat free rice. I will work hard to earn a house and not let you and Su Ling lose face. Unexpectedly, Su Ling took the key from Grandpa Su and stuffed it into Yikan's hand again. My grandfather said it was for you, so you should accept it. You saved my grandfather's life, and this is what you earned by your own efforts, do you understand? As she spoke, Su Ling remembered something, and she reminded Grandpa Su seriously, by the way, Grandpa, since you gave Yikan a villa, the name on the property certificate must be changed to Yikan's. If it is not changed to Yikan's name, it is not considered Yikan's villa. Yikan was deeply shocked by Su Ling's words. He didn't want the villa, but this little girl insisted on asking him to have it, and even wanted to change the name on the villa's property certificate to his name. Oh my god, can the surprise be any more intense? Is there really such a good thing in the world that will happen to me, Yikan? Also, Su Ling, is she not having a fever? Yikan was getting more and more confused by everything in front of him. Grandpa Su smiled with relief. Of course, I immediately asked someone to change the name on the property certificate to Arkan's. After speaking, Mr. Su immediately made a phone call to find someone to do it. Su Ling was very satisfied with this. She took Yikan's hand. Come on, I'll take you to breakfast first, and then I'll give you a reward. Yikan was even more confused. What? You want to give me a reward? Su Ling kept it a secret, I'll tell you what it is later. During the meal, Yikan was in a trance. He couldn't believe that he was not dreaming. Su Ling finished the vegetables on the plate, picked up the napkin, and wiped the corners of her mouth with an elegant movement. Then, she clapped her hands in the air a few times. Outside the window, a brand new Lamborghini, shining in the sun, stopped. Here. Husband, this is the car I gave you. Su Ling put the car keys in front of Yikan's eyes. Yikan stood up in astonishment. Su Ling had just given him 100 million in the morning, and then gave him a luxury sports car, which was no cheaper than Su Ling's Rolls-Royce Phantom. No, wife, I don't even have a driver's license, so I can't use a car. I can just ride a public electric bike to work. Yikan grew up in a poor family, and his parents left early. In order to support his sister and himself, he spent his time studying and making money. He had no chance to learn to drive, and he didn't even dare to think about a car. Who knew that Su Ling made a decision that almost shocked Yikan? Husband, keep the car first, and as for the driver's license, we'll take the test slowly when we have time. From now on, I will be your exclusive driver, and I will pick you up and drop you off at get off work every day. Yikan was completely confused. Su Ling is not kidding, right? She, Su Ling, has to be picked up by a special driver wherever she goes. She is willing to be my special driver. Fuck, this treatment is supreme. Well, wife, didn't you say that our marriage can't be announced to the public? You are such a big shot, sending me an intern to work, it's too ostentatious. I'm afraid it will have a bad impact on you and me. It's getting late. I'd better ride the public electric bike to work. You should just be busy with your own things. Yikan still has determination. He decisively rejected Su Ling. Su Ling caught up with him and carried Yikan on his shoulders. No, I said I would take you to An from get off work, so I will. I am your wife and you are my husband. Husbands are meant to be spoiled. I just want everyone to know that you, Yikan, are my husband. Yikan was floating, lost. Is this the same ice queen who forced me to sign the unequal treaty after marriage? The style of the painting changed too fast, almost breaking my defense. Wife, can you put me down first? There are many people watching. Besides, if you want to take me to An from get off work, can we change to a more ordinary car? As for Su Ling's easy carrying of Yikan on his shoulders, Yikan just remembered that the system told him, in front of Su Ling, his strength value is 0, so he can't resist Su Ling at all. Alas, Su Ling is still his female boss. Su Ling not only didn't put Yikan down, but the hands around Yikan's waist tightened. Just watch, who doesn't allow wives to carry husbands? The car can't be changed, my family doesn't have a car below 9 million. Yikan was speechless. Well, I'd better shut up. Is this girl sincere to me, or is she testing me? Why can't I tell it clearly? Yikan fell into confusion. Su Ling carried Yikan and continued to move forward, her heart seemed to be filled with honey, sweet. Silly brother, just wait, in the future, I will spoil you to the sky, I don't believe you can't love me. Chapter 14. The sweet cake was fired. The majestic Rolls-Royce Phantom stopped at the gate of Jiangning People's Hospital. Soon, men and women passing by recognized Su Ling. Everyone rushed to Su Ling like crazy, and there were excited shouts all around. Oh my god, I am not dreaming, I actually saw my dream lover, Goddess Ling Ling. Oh my god, it's Goddess Ling Ling, she is more beautiful in person than on TV. Goddess Ling Ling, I love you like a mouse loves rice, please sign my heart. Yikan stood outside the crowd, shaking his head helplessly. Hey, one by one, seeing Su Ling is closer than seeing your own parents, is it crazy like that? You guys, that's because you don't know what Su Ling is like in real life, you are just confused by her perfect personality. The system suddenly sounded at this time, detected that the host is criticizing the goddess wife, warning once. The next time the host criticizes the goddess wife, the charm value will be directly deducted and the operation skill will be cancelled. Yikan couldn't help but wipe his sweat. Big beauty system, how could I criticize my goddess wife in my heart, I just tell the truth. System, goddess wife is good, goddess wife is good. Yikan was drunk by the system. The bug is so good, why don't you sing Shaolin Kung Fu is good, Shaolin Kung Fu is good. System. Well, the big beauty system is too lazy to talk to me. Forget it, I'd better go to the director to explain it quickly, don't let her think that I am absent from work on purpose for so many days. From Yikan being cheated into marriage by the scumbag Xia An'an to marrying Su Ling, what happened during this period was too unexpected for him to catch his breath. He has not come to work in the hospital for many days, and he must find the director to explain the reason, don't let the director misunderstand him and delay his regularization. So, Yikan walked upstairs quickly. Su Ling was still surrounded by fanatical fans asking for autographs, and he didn't have time to say goodbye to Yikan. This stupid brother, is he so afraid of me? He ran away without even saying goodbye to me. Su Ling looked at Yikan's tall back as he hurried away, and she couldn't help feeling a little disappointed. A sweet-looking female doctor asked Su Ling curiously, Goddess Ling Ling, Yikan is the most handsome intern in our hospital, and he is very popular with girls. Why did you send him to work? What is your relationship with him? When Su Ling heard that Yikan was very popular with girls in the hospital, the little bug in her heart called jealousy came out. Moreover, she could clearly see that the young female doctor's eyes clearly showed her admiration for Yikan. In an instant, Su Ling was jealous and proudly told the female doctor, of course my husband Su Ling is the most handsome. As his wife, I must send my husband to work. The underlying meaning of her words was to warn those female doctors who had ideas about Yikan. The handsome guy you secretly love has now been conquered by me Su Ling, so go home and find your mothers, and don't think about other people's husbands. The next second, everyone exploded, especially the male fans. What? The goddess is getting married? It's so sudden. Oh my god, how can the goddess choose a poor intern as her husband? My heart is broken. I'm heartbroken. I will never fall in love again in my life. Hearing their wailing everywhere, Su Ling felt a sense of accomplishment. Humph, I just want everyone to know that the handsome guy Yikan is my husband, Su Ling. He belongs to me and I belong to him. No one can take us away. At the same time, Su Ling made another decision. On their way to the director's office, head nurse Wang Maimai suddenly appeared and looked at Yikan with starry eyes. Little Can, you haven't come for many days. Sister misses you so much. I thought you quit. Wang Maimai is a divorced young woman, 3 years older than Yikan. She often flirts with Yikan and calls him Little Can in a numb way. Yikan got goosebumps all over his body after hearing this. Oh, Sister Wang, Just when Yikan was about to talk to Wang Maimai, Zhang Lili, who was interning in the same department, handed Yikan a box of fragrant sweet and sour pork ribs. Brother, you are here. Here, I made sweet and sour pork ribs this morning. I'll save them for you to eat at noon. Yikan was also troubled by this junior sister Zhang Lili. This girl was 8 years younger than her. Because she was interested in him, she often made all kinds of delicious food for him, but he always refused. But this girl was also persistent. She secretly poured those delicious food into his rice lunchbox while he was working, so that he had to eat it. This made Yikan embarrassed. He couldn't just not show any appreciation for eating the little sister's food. Then, he often helped Zhang Lili with some physical work. Who knew that the more he helped Zhang Lili, the more Zhang Lili thought he liked her too, and she made delicious food for Yikan more frequently. Well, Lili, actually I've already. Without waiting for Yikan to explain his current situation to Zhang Lili, Shui Yangyang from the orthopedics department directly pulled Yikan to her side and said to Wang Maimai and Zhang Lili sarcastically. Sister Wang, Lili, one of you is older than my upper, and the other is younger than my upper. Being too old or too young doesn't suit my upper's taste, so you should be a little self-aware. Yikan was even more troubled by Shui Yangyang. She would always call people my upper and my upper, as if he was really her private upper. Yang, can you please stop telling people about that? Shui Yang didn't give Yikan a chance to speak. She simply put her face on Yikan's arm and said delicately, Dear upper, will you go out for steak at noon? Okay. Wang Maimai and Zhang Lili couldn't stand it anymore. They went over to pull Shui Yang away from Yikan's arm. Shui Yang, you should know yourself. My little Can doesn't like a delicate green tea like you. Sister Wang, Sister Shui, senior brother is mine. Don't fight with me. Yikan's heart. He had better run away quickly, otherwise these women would tear him apart, and there would probably be nothing left. However, he had to admit that because he was tall, handsome, and elegant, and he was also careful at work, the female colleagues in the hospital really regarded him as a sweet cake and were jealous of him. For this, he could only run as far as he could. Alas, jealous women are tigers, you must avoid them when you meet them. What a painful realization. When he came to the director's office, Yikan politely greeted the director, Good morning, director. When the director saw Yikan coming, he walked towards Yikan with a cold face and threw a letter of dismissal to him. You were absent from work for many days during the internship, and even treated people across departments privately. Yikan, you really bring shame to our hospital. From now on, you are fired. Remember, as long as Jiangning People's Hospital will not use you, no hospital will use you. Yikan was stunned. Not only was he fired, but he also had to forget about gaining a foothold in the medical field in the future. Chapter 15. The video went viral. Yikan couldn't accept this sudden dismissal. He anxiously explained to the director, Director, I didn't miss work on purpose. I just happened to. The director didn't want to listen to what Yikan said. She interrupted him coldly, The video of you treating patients across departments has exploded on TikTok. The ironclad facts are there. What are you still quibbling about? Video on a certain audio platform. Yikan couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. When did he start treating patients across disciplines? When did you appear on TikTok? Coming back to his senses, Yikan asked the director seriously, Director, is there any misunderstanding here? What is the video like? Can I see it? The director decisively took out his mobile phone, opened a certain audio app, and found the video she mentioned. Open your eyes and look carefully at what you are doing. Yikan took the director's phone and looked down. The video shows Yikan calmly treating Mr. Su, who was suffering from convulsions at Su's house in the morning. You know what, he looked so handsome and sexy when he was concentrating on saving people, even he was amazed by himself. The video has been viewed over 200 million times, and there are too many comments to read. They are basically, wow! What a handsome doctor! I want his contact information. I want to marry him and have a baby. The person above, don't worry about it. He is my husband and we are already having a third child. The one on the second floor, wake up, he is my husband, and we just came back from our honeymoon. Stop arguing, this handsome doctor belongs to all of us, and all of us female compatriots love him. Ekin never dreamed that the scene of him saving Grandpa Su in the morning would be filmed into a video and posted online, making him an internet celebrity in an instant. Those female netizens were crazy about his good looks and courted him one after another, flooding the comments section. Ekin returned the phone to the director and said in confusion, "Director, everyone's response to my saving lives is quite good. I haven't caused any negative impact on the hospital. The hospital won't fire me because of this, right?" The director came to the window and pointed downstairs with an angry look on his face. "Come here and see for yourself whether you have caused any adverse impact on the hospital." Ekin walked over in surprise. When he looked downstairs, he was stunned by the huge scene outside. The internet was so developed that someone had searched and found out that Ekin was interning at this hospital. Then everyone came in droves, crowding the hospital gates and shouting loudly to the people upstairs. "There are thousands of men in the world, but Ekin is the most handsome. Ekin, I love Ekin. Husband, Ekin is my husband." The director listened to the cheers that were getting louder and louder, and felt like his eardrums were about to shatter. He could only cover his ears with his hands. Ekin was also very confused about this. Just a video of him saving someone made him famous and he instantly became the national husband. Hospitals are supposed to be places to save lives and heal the wounded, but now they have become a place for female fans to collectively propose to each other. But this is really not Ekin's fault. There's nothing he can do about the fact that he's handsome. Ekin walked up to the director and said sincerely, "Director, I didn't upload the video. I didn't expect it to turn out like this. I just want to get a permanent job in our hospital. Please don't fire me, okay?" Logically speaking, today is the day Ekin becomes a regular employee. After being converted to a full-time doctor, he became a real doctor. If the director really fired him and other hospitals refused to accept him, then all his years of medical training would be in vain, and the difficult surgeries that the system rewarded him with would be of no use, and his ambition to become a famous doctor would be impossible to realize. The director did not allow any room for negotiation. "You are an intern in the obstetrics and gynecology department. You are not qualified to treat people without permission. What if you kill someone? To become famous, you even made a video and posted it on TikTok. What a trouble you've caused to the hospital. Pack up your things and leave now." Ekin still refused to leave. He tried his best to save the situation. "Director, the situation was critical at the time. I was the only doctor in the Su family. The old man's life was at stake. I had to save him, and I was sure I could cure him. I really didn't upload the video. I don't have that hobby. Besides, if I become famous, doesn't that mean our hospital is also famous? Indeed, now there is everyone in the world who doesn't know Jiangning People's Hospital. Just because this hospital produced the most handsome male doctor, not only did he save the head of the Su family, one of the four major families in Jiangning City, but he also made female netizens fall for his looks and were completely fascinated by him. Stop talking nonsense. This is an order from the hospital's top management, and it cannot be changed. If you don't leave, I'll call the security guards to kick you out." The director has lost all his patience. Ekin had no choice but to pack up and leave. He couldn't understand why the director, who used to be a very reasonable person, now didn't listen to his explanation at all and just fired him. Could it be that the director is really like what everyone has said in the past, that her menopause has come early and her thinking is abnormal? No way. Furthermore, who secretly took the video of him saving Grandpa Su and uploaded it to a certain audio platform? Did Su Ling see it? What if Su Ling saw those comments? Would she also have misunderstandings? Ekin felt that this matter was not as simple as it seemed, as if someone was deliberately operating in secret. But who could that person be? Who would make things difficult for me? Wang Mai saw Ekin walking out of the director's office with his head down, so she quickly walked over and asked Ekin worriedly, "Oh my little Can, I just saw your video. Logically, you should be happy that you've become famous, why are you still frowning?" Ekin forced a smile towards Wang Mai. "Sister Wang, I was fired by the director." When Wang Mai heard that Ekin was fired, she was immediately furious. "What? None me who fired you?" Yikan nodded weakly, yeah. Wang Mai was so angry that she slapped the table and said, "This is too unfair. My little Can is so hardworking and capable, and so handsome. He has become an internet celebrity and has brought fame to our hospital. She can fire anyone but not my little Can." Then, she called Zhang Lily and Shui Yang, who had just quarreled with her, and said, "Lily, Yang, none me who actually fired Xiao Can. We call on all the sisters in the hospital to seek justice for Xiao Can. Humph, you dare to fire my beloved senior brother? Who will I cook for in the future? I'm going to call the sisters in the nursing team and ask them to go with me to find none me who." Zhang Lily unconditionally agrees with Wang Mei's approach. Shui Yang was equally determined, "Whoever fires my upper, I will be angry with him. I will go call the sisters in the orthopedic department. There is strength in numbers. I don't believe that we can't cure a menopausal none me who." Yikan was deeply moved when he saw these female colleagues standing up for him one by one. At this moment, he suddenly felt that they were so cute, and he was reluctant to leave them. After all, they had worked together for quite a while. But the ending is set and cannot be changed. So Yikan kindly dissuaded them, "Thank you for your kindness, but the ending has been decided, so don't worry about me, so as not to implicate everyone. I will remember your kindness to me, and we will meet again." After saying that, Yikan left reluctantly. "Xiao Can, please don't leave. I can't bear to leave you. Brother, if you leave, who will I prepare delicious food for, brother? My upper, please come back, I don't want my upper to leave." Wang Mai, Zhang Lily, and Shui Yang were reluctant to let Yikan go. They lost a handsome guy they loved, and they were so upset. The three of them couldn't help but hug each other and cry loudly. Yikan sat on the side of the road holding a cardboard box, feeling extremely depressed. In the morning he vowed to Su Ling that he would not let Su Ling down and that he would be a husband that Su Ling was proud of. However, as soon as he arrived at the hospital, he lost his job. Will Su Ling look down on me? What should I do next? Chapter 16: Divorce your husband. Soon, Yikan thought of the system, and he began to call the system, "Big Beauty System, please come out and tell me, is there another reason why I was fired? Big Beauty System." No matter how Yikan shouted or spoke, the system did not respond. Oh shit! What is going on? Could it be that I was fired and the system was fired too? It's not so sad. After firing Yikan, the director sighed and said to himself, "Yikan, according to my original intention, I would not fire you. I was actually forced to do so. Just think of it as bad luck that you are not destined to be a doctor. I hope you can make great achievements in other fields." After saying that, she picked up the phone and dialed Su Haitao's number. Soon, Su Haitao's voice came, "Yikan is gone." The director answered truthfully, "To reply to President Su, I have already fired Yikan as you wish. Do you think it is time for you to release my daughter?" Su Haitao smiled with satisfaction. Then he asked the director, "Very good, you are really fast. Tell me, what reward do you want?" The director didn't dare to ask for any reward. She just wanted Su Haitao to release her precious daughter as soon as possible. So, she flattered Su Haitao, "Boss Su, how can I ask for any reward? Just let my daughter go. Besides, my speed of work depends on your arrangement of someone to post the video on a certain platform. You are really a wise man with great ideas. You used the joke of Yikan saving people to make our hospital famous. At the same time, you are really wicked. You took advantage of Yikan's medical skills and good looks to make your hospital famous, and then you kicked Yikan out." The director could only complain about this in his heart but could not say it openly. Jiangning People's Hospital is actually one of the hospitals under the Su family, and Su Haitao is one of the shareholders. Yikan doesn't know this yet. Therefore, the director cannot afford to offend Su Haitao and has to listen to Su Haitao in everything. Su Ling had just returned home from Jiangning People's Hospital when he saw the video on TikTok of Yikan saving Grandpa Su, and also saw the comments below. While she was jealous of Yikan's popularity among female netizens, she couldn't help but have doubts. Because she knew very well that in the Su family, no one could post any videos about the Su family online without the permission of Mr. Su. So the question is, who secretly took the video and then posted it on TikTok? It is obvious that someone is using Yikan to promote Jiangning People's Hospital. But those female netizens chased Yikan to their hospital, which undoubtedly caused adverse effects on the hospital. How will the hospital treat Yikan in this situation? After thinking it over, Su Ling was still worried about Yikan, so he called the director. The director had just hung up the phone with Su Haitao when the eldest daughter of the Su family called again. She suddenly had a bad feeling. Calming himself, the director answered the phone. "Miss Su, what can I do for you?" Su Ling went straight to the point. "Director, is Yikan okay in the hospital?" The director's heart suddenly trembled and cold sweat broke out on his forehead. She hesitated. "Well, Yikan." Su Ling felt something was wrong, and his tone was as cold as ice. "Did you fire Yikan?" The director was so frightened that his whole body was shaking, and his voice was trembling. "Ms. Su, no. I don't want to fire Yikan, I." Before the director could finish her words, Su Ling interrupted her sharply. "Tell me. Who fired Yikan?" The director didn't dare to say it because her daughter had just been released by Su Haitao and she didn't want to be threatened by Su Haitao again. "Miss Su, I don't know. Please don't embarrass me, okay?" Su Ling was annoyed and said bluntly, "If you don't tell me, believe it or not, I will ask you to get out of the hospital. Don't forget that I am the largest shareholder of the hospital." The director was terrified and quickly confessed the truth. "Ms. Su, please don't tell me to get out. Isn't it enough for me to say it? It was Boss Su who fired Yikan. Everything was planned by Boss Su." Su Ling clenched her phone, her anger rising. She continued to ask the director, "Which Mr. Su? Su Haitao? Su Haijian? Or Suzhen?" The director stammered, Su Haitao. "It's indeed him." Su Ling's guess was correct. After hanging up the phone, Su Ling wanted to settle the score with Su Haitao. Unexpectedly, as soon as she went out, she ran into Yikan getting out of a taxi holding a cardboard box. When Yikan saw Su Ling's cold face, his breathing stagnated and his heartbeat quickened. It's over, barbecue is gone. Look at Su Ling's expression of not recognizing anyone, he must know that I was fired. She must have watched the video, and she must have misunderstood me. My physical strength is zero in front of her, and she can kill me in minutes. What to do? My wife. Yikan spoke tentatively. That me. Unexpectedly, Su Ling hugged Yikan suddenly, wishing she could rub Yikan into her bones, for fear that Yikan would run away. At this moment, Yikan was completely unable to use any strength against Su Ling. It's weird, why does the system insist on making my physical strength zero in front of my wife? Are you afraid that I will bully my wife? I'm not that kind of person. But what does Lydia Su mean by hugging me suddenly? This girl is not playing by the rules again. Cough cough cough. Yikan couldn't help coughing a few times. Su Ling hugged him too tightly and he was a little breathless. Wife, can you hug me more gently? I'm almost suffocating. It took Yikan a lot of effort to say this. Only then did Su Ling realize that she was hugging her husband too tightly, and she let go of Yikan. Then, she held Yikan's hand tightly and said firmly, "Hubby, I know everything. Don't be afraid, I'm here for you." Yikan was confused. "Don't be afraid, I'm here for you." What Su Ling said was so damn domineering. It was as if I was a little wife who was bullied outside, and Su Ling was a domineering husband with an overwhelming desire to protect her. Did we get the wrong script? What? Is Su Ling planning to seek justice for me? Could it be that she knows some secret? While Yikan was still confused, Su Haitao's car stopped, and the next second, Su Haitao helped old man Su out of the car. Seeing Yikan standing at the door, Su Haitao pointed at Yikan's nose and scolded him angrily. "You stinky boy, just to become famous, you actually posted the video of saving the old man on the internet. Do you understand the rules of the Su family?" Without waiting for Yikan to explain, old Master Su spoke up, "Arkan, you disappoint me so much. How could you do such a thing? I heard that the hospital has fired you. That's a good thing. From now on, you should just give up on being a doctor." Hearing Grandpa Su's extremely disappointed words, Yikan concluded that Su Haitao had been making things difficult for him in front of Grandpa Su. Su Haitao didn't even give Yikan a chance to speak. He looked at Su Ling, who had been silent, and started to sneer. "Lingling, your husband is a loser, and you don't believe me. He lost his job before his internship was over. What else do you expect from him? Divorce him now. What kind of person can your uncle find for you?" Su Ling still didn't say anything, she just made a gesture and everyone was dumbfounded. Chapter 17, Step to Heaven. It turned out that the recording function of Su Ling's mobile phone was turned on, and all her previous conversations with the director were recorded. What Su Ling was listening to everyone now was the part where the director told her that it was Su Haitao who was the one who interfered and got Yikan fired. After listening to the recording, Yikan was shocked that Jiangning People's Hospital was actually owned by the Su family. At the same time, anger was surging in his heart, and his hands hanging by his sides were clenched into fists. Damn, Su Haitao is this old fox. After taking advantage of my value, he kicked me out. How damn cunning. Fortunately, Su Ling had the foresight to know about the recording. Now, let us see how Su Haitao can still be so arrogant. Su Haitao never expected that his little niece was so smart that she could actually find out that he was the one who cheated and fired Yikan. The director exposed him personally, and now he has no way to defend himself and feels ashamed. When Su Ling saw that Su Haitao was speechless, she put away the recorder and stared at Su Haitao with cold eyes as he kept his head down and didn't dare to look at her. Uncle, why are you mute now? You are so bold that you secretly recorded the video behind Grandpa's back and uploaded it to the internet. You almost made our Su family miss out on a good doctor. Mr. Su was extremely disappointed with Su Haitao. He shook off Su Haitao's hand that was supporting him and angrily scolded. Haitao, you really disappoint me. You are more likely to cause trouble than to help me. Su Haitao regretted it so much that he begged for forgiveness from Grandpa Su with a sad face. Dad, I won't dare to do it again next time. Please don't be angry, okay? Old Master Su pushed Su Haitao away. There won't be a next time. Today I will remove you from the list of shareholders of the hospital. Don't interfere with the hospital again. After he finished speaking, Mr. Su walked into the inner room without looking back. Su Haitao followed closely behind, begging bitterly, Dad, I beg you, please don't remove me from the hospital's shareholders, I won't dare to do it again. Dad. Seeing the embarrassed Su Haitao, Yikan was secretly happy in his heart. Har har har. Su Haitao is trying to steal a chicken but ends up losing the rice. He was thinking of firing me, but this time he fired himself. He deserved it. So, does this mean that I can go to work in the hospital again and my dream of becoming a doctor can start sailing again? Retracting his thoughts, Yikan turned to look at Su Ling and said gratefully, Wife, this time it's all thanks to you, thank you. Unexpectedly, Su Ling suddenly reached out and gently touched Yikan's face. Hubby, you don't have to be polite to me. I've already told you that I'm here for everything. I will protect you. After saying this, Su Ling's dishonest little hands were still touching Yikan's face, and ripples were rippling in his heart. This silly brother's skin is so good, it feels so comfortable to touch. I really want to eat him bite by bite. Yikan didn't know why Su Ling suddenly wanted to touch his face, and he found that the look in Su Ling's eyes when he was looking at him was so gentle, so doting, and so exciting. That cherry-like little mouth curved into a shallow arc, and this clear and warm smile was so charmingly beautiful. Seeing Su Ling like this, Yikan was very confused. He couldn't understand what was wrong with this little girl. Why did she suddenly like to touch him? Su Ling's small hands were still touching Yikan's face. Yikan felt it was so soft, smooth, soft, and comfortable. Even his body felt numb and his heart was inexplicably itchy. Would it be more wonderful if my goddess wife's little hands touched other places on me? Yikan couldn't help but have a lot of thoughts. However, he quickly reminded himself, Stop, what are you thinking about? What if Su Ling is testing you? Stay calm, you must stay calm. So, Yikan stood still and carefully discussed with Su Ling, Well, honey, please don't touch my face first, okay? I'm itchy. Only then did Su Ling realize that her hand had been touching Yikan's face for a long time. What should I do? I just like this silly brother's face. How could there be a man as handsome as silly brother in the world? Alas, after touching silly brother's face, I also want to touch silly brother's abdominal muscles, and many images could not help but emerge in Su Ling's mind, and her heart was beating like a deer. Forget it, I have to be reserved and not scare my silly brother. I don't want him to think that I will hurt him. I still want to pamper my silly brother and wait for him to fall in love with me. In order to ease the embarrassment, Su Ling deliberately cleared his throat. Well, honey, don't get me wrong, I just saw some dust on your face, so I wiped it off for you. After thinking about it, she felt that this excuse was the most suitable to cover up her involuntary actions in front of Yikan. Yikan just smiled dryly and nodded, Well, my wife is really considerate. In fact, what he really thought in his heart was, can't you tell the difference between touching and wiping? Yikan, I'm so pure. If it were someone else, they would have thought you were doing something else just now. Then, Yikan remembered something, and he asked Su Ling seriously, by the way, wife, can I continue to go to work in the hospital? Since Jiangning People's Hospital is owned by the Su family, Su Ling is still the largest shareholder, and Yikan has interned in this hospital, then he naturally wants to continue staying in the old place, just to prove to Su Ling and other people in the Su family that he, Yikan, is not a son-in-law who lives off his wife, but he will become a famous doctor and bring glory to their hospital. When Yikan asked this, Su Ling remembered that she almost forgot something important. Then she took Yikan's hand. Come on, follow me in to find Grandpa. Yikan followed Su Ling to Mr. Su's study. Su Haitao glared at Yikan and Su Ling fiercely. Before leaving, he complained bitterly to Su Ling, Ling, just turn your elbow outward, aren't you afraid of falling on this gigolo? Su Ling calmly responded to Su Haitao, Uncle, don't worry about this. I am willing to let my husband eat soft rice. I am honored to support my husband. My husband asked me to support him because he is capable. Can you do it? Su Haitao was so angry that he was speechless and left angrily. Yikan couldn't help but secretly admire Su Ling. Wow, this girl is so damn cool. There are wives who love their wives, is she a husband-loving devil? Are you sure we didn't get the wrong script? Old Master Su sat upright on the expensive-looking Huanghuali carved chair and told Su Ling in a serious tone. Ling, I have removed your uncle from the hospital's shareholders. His shares will be transferred to you. The formalities will be completed tomorrow. Su Ling seemed not very satisfied with Mr. Su's arrangement. She walked to Grandpa Su's side, took Grandpa Su's arm, put her little face close to his, and smiled sweetly. Grandpa, how about transferring my uncle's shares to Yikan? I will transfer another 10% to him. This way, Yikan will be the second largest shareholder of the hospital. Let's see who dares to bully my husband in the future. Yikan was shocked instantly. Su Ling not only allowed him to continue working in the hospital, but also allowed him to improve his status in just one morning, one step to heaven. Am I going from being an intern to being a big boss? Oh shit. Am I dreaming? Chapter 18, Enemies on a Narrow Road. System, beautiful lady system, please come out quickly. Tell me quickly, is Su Ling serious? However, there was no response from the system. Yikan felt that countless ellipses flew over his head. Well, the beautiful system is probably on vacation and has no time to pay attention to me. The surprise came so suddenly that Yikan still finds it hard to believe that this happened to him. Even TV dramas wouldn't dare to act like this, right? When Mr. Su heard that Su Ling wanted Yikan to become the second largest shareholder of the hospital, he immediately expressed his opposition. No. Ling, you are too presumptuous. How can you let an intern become the second largest shareholder of the hospital? I absolutely disagree with this. Mr. Su's anger was like a bucket of cold water falling from the sky, chilling Yikan to the core. Indeed, one should not be happy too early. However, when he thought about it carefully, why would the Su family hand over the shares to him, a son-in-law? Who doesn't he understand the principle of keeping the wealth within the family? Moreover, deep down in his heart, Yikan did not want to accept the status of the second largest shareholder. When things come too easily, it is often not a good thing. He is a person who relies on his own strength to get everything he wants, and he won't live off others and be looked down upon. It was just that the decision made by Su Ling was so unexpected to him, coupled with the series of abnormal behaviors of this girl before, he was a little confused and couldn't tell whether Su Ling was really doting on him or testing him. Forget it, don't think about it anymore. What is the point of thinking so much? You and Lydia Su will be married for only 3 months. Your union is absurd to begin with, so don't harbor any unrealistic fantasies. 3 months later, you and Su Ling divorced, and neither of you could interfere with the other. It is best for you to perform well in the Su family, secure your job as a doctor, and stick to your dream. After Yikan comforted himself in his heart, he instantly felt less depressed. But he was still very confused. Why did Mr. Su insist on letting Su Ling marry him? Why is Mr. Su unwilling to tell the reason? Yikan couldn't figure it out. He took a step forward and smiled politely at Mr. Su. Grandpa, even if Su Ling asked me to become the second largest shareholder of the hospital, I would not accept it. My duty is to save lives and bring health and longevity to patients. Being a skilled doctor is what I really want. Su Ling retorted to Yikan, You becoming the second largest shareholder of the hospital does not affect your performance of your duties as a doctor, okay? My husband must have power in his hands, so as not to be bullied by some villains in the future. Making Yikan the second largest shareholder of the hospital is the only most advantageous way Su Ling can think of to protect Yikan in all aspects. When Yikan heard Su Ling say these words, he was actually a little moved. You have to know that his sister is the only relative he has in this world, and he has always been the one to protect her. Whenever he got upset outside, he just had to deal with it by himself, and no one has ever stood up for him. But Su Ling, the top goddess admired by everyone, seems to have always been protecting him since she became his wife. The Su family naturally looked down on him, but Su Ling was the only one who didn't look at him with tinted glasses. Therefore, Yikan still had a little fantasy in his heart. What if Su Ling was not testing me, but was sincere to me? So, Yikan started calling the system again. System, beautiful system, please come out soon and stop ignoring me, okay? As the saying goes, a woman's heart is as elusive as the sea. Since you and Su Ling are both girls, can you help me analyze from a girl's perspective whether Su Ling is sincere to me? The system finally came, and that sweet lady's voice sounded in Yikan's mind. Can't the host feel whether the goddess wife is sincere or not? Yikan was embarrassed and perplexed. What are you saying? I'm a grown man, how can I understand what you girls are thinking? The system seemed impatient and even yawned lazily. Host, please think for yourself. The system is sleepy and needs to continue to get some beauty sleep. Oh my god. I'm still getting my beauty sleep, why is there so much trouble in my system? Alas, women are hard to mess with. Yikan really wanted to change himself to a male system, as male systems wouldn't be so troublesome. Unexpectedly, the system detected Yikan's thoughts, and immediately a hammer popped up in Yikan's mind, and then the hammer hit his little butt again and again. I detected that the host was slandering us girls, so I'll spank you. What? And you hit my little butt? Is it so exciting? As a result, Yikan really felt that he was beaten, it hurt. Well, he really can't afford to offend the beautiful lady system. The system was quite considerate. Although it made Yikan feel the pain, it didn't let him move or make any sound, because it didn't want to alarm Grandpa Su and Su Ling. Noticing that Yikan was in a trance, Su Ling raised his hand and waved it in front of Yikan's eyes. Honey, are you listening to me? Yikan nodded hurriedly. Wife, I'm listening, I'm listening. I appreciate your kindness, but I still want to be a doctor peacefully. Lydia Su still insisted on her position. No. My husband must be both a doctor and a big boss. I can't let my husband be looked down upon or bullied. I am the major shareholder, so I have the right to give you these. Mr. Su slammed his palm on the table. I don't agree. If you really dare to let Yikan become the second largest shareholder, we will sever the grandfather-grandson relationship. Yikan was afraid that the matter would get out of hand, so he quickly persuaded Grandpa Su and Su Ling. Grandpa, don't be angry, I will never accept the shares that Su Ling gave me. Wife, don't make Grandpa angry, you only have one grandfather. Su Ling was afraid that Mr. Su would really sever the grandfather-granddaughter relationship with her, so she had to compromise reluctantly. Yikan pulled Su Ling away from Mr. Su's study. Looking at his watch, it was time for the afternoon shift. Yikan packed up his things and said goodbye to Su Ling. Wife, I'm going to the hospital to work first. You stay at home and take care of Grandpa. Su Ling called out to Yikan, husband, wait a minute. Yikan turned around, anything else? Su Ling came over and took out a red and gold stamped list from her bag and handed it to Yikan. Husband, before you go to work, I want to tell you that I have decided to hold a grand wedding for us. This is the invitation list. Do you have anything to add? Yikan was stunned. Su Ling is going to hold a wedding with me? Does this mean you want to tell the world that I, Yikan, am Su Ling's husband? Wouldn't I be famous all over the world? Calming himself down, Yikan pretended to be calm and asked Su Ling, wife, didn't you say before that we just need to get a marriage certificate and not hold a wedding? Lydia Su answered confidently, what I said before doesn't count. My husband is so handsome, I must hold a wedding for him, otherwise he will lose face. In fact, Su Ling was jealous that Yikan was secretly loved by female colleagues in the hospital and admired by female netizens, so she wanted to hold a wedding to let everyone know that Yikan was her, Su Ling's, husband. Humph, my husband is a very handsome man, my only one, no one can take my husband away from me. Yikan didn't know how to respond to Su Ling for a moment. Anyway, she is the goddess, she is the boss, whatever she says goes. Wife, as long as you are happy. Yikan could only reply to Su Ling with a smile. Su Ling stuffed the invitation list into Yikan's hand. Then, husband, take a look, do you have anything to add? Yikan looked down, and the next second, he almost jumped up. His goddess wife actually invited Xia An'an, his scumbag ex, and even invited his adulterer Yang Wei. What the hell is going on? Chapter 19, Collective Broken Heart. Yikan gets angry whenever he sees the names of Xia An'an and Yang Wei, and he wishes he could cut the couple into pieces. Xia An'an cheated him out of 100,000 yuan, and he hasn't settled the score with her yet. Yang Wei beat him up in the face until it was deformed, but he still has come to settle the score with him. He is irreconcilable with them, so why did Su Ling invite them to the wedding? Are you looking for trouble? The system detected that Yikan was feeling unbalanced, and the sweet lady's voice sounded again, don't doubt the decision of your goddess wife. Yikan was almost laughing because of the system. I say, great beauty system, you are deliberately going against me, right? You know how that scumbag Xia An'an and that adulterer Yang Wei treated me, and Lydia Su knows it very well too. Why did she have to invite that bastard couple to the wedding? I don't agree. The system popped up a pink little fist in Yikan's mind, and it punched the blank space a few times. Yikan clearly felt the pain in the back of his head. Damn it, the system hit him again. Just team up with Su Ling. You two teamed up to provoke me on purpose, didn't you? The system was quite relaxed. Now that we are here, we should make the best of it. The best is yet to come. Yikan complained in his heart angrily. What the hell? The enemies are about to meet and start a fight, but fortunately, the show is yet to come. Su Ling saw Yikan staring at the words Xia An'an and Yang Wei in a daze, and she guessed what Yikan was worried about. So, she smiled and explained to Yikan. Hubby, don't wonder why I invited these two people. I just want them to see how happy you are with me, and let them be envious and jealous. Yikan forced himself to remain calm and forced a smile at Su Ling. Wife, do whatever you think is appropriate. I support you. It would be better to let Xia An'an and Yang Wei attend the wedding, so that he can settle accounts with them. When Su Ling saw that Yikan did not object to her approach, her smile became even sweeter and more beautiful, just like the sky over the Yalan River, clean without a trace of impurities. If my husband has no objection, I will make the arrangements. The wedding will be held on the 5th of next month. Yikan nodded in pretended agreement. Yes, everything is up to my wife. He also couldn't understand Su Ling's logic. Won't it be a month by the 5th of next month? That means there will only be 3 months left for Su Ling and I to be married. After the wedding, there will only be 2 months left for Su Ling and I to be married. Why hold such a grand wedding? Will Su Ling have to hold a divorce ceremony known to the world? By then, wouldn't everyone know that I've become an abandoned husband? Forget it, let her do whatever she wants. My most important thing is to keep my job as a doctor. After comforting himself in this way, Yikan didn't think about it anymore. As for men, career is the most important thing. Once you have a good career, everything else will not be a problem. Su Ling suddenly took Yikan's arm, blinking her bright big eyes and fluttering her long eyelashes, as if she could easily capture a person's soul. Yikan didn't know what Su Ling was going to do, and asked nervously, Wife, what are you doing? Su Ling took out the car keys from his pocket and waved them in front of Yikan. What? Of course, I'm sending my husband to work. After saying that, she pulled Yikan and ran towards the car. This girl is quite trustworthy. She said she would be my full-time driver, and she really did it. I guess she just wants to experience life. Alas, we don't understand the world of top goddesses. Yikan returned to the hospital, and the director apologized to Yikan. I'm sorry, Master Yi, I was forced to do that. Please be generous and don't hold it against me, okay? In the past, the director would either call Yikan by his full name or call him Xiao Yi, and he would always order him around. But when he suddenly called him Young Master Yi, Yikan was a little confused. Well, director, it's all in the past. Let's not talk about it anymore. We can still be good colleagues in the future, right? Yikan understood the director's situation and didn't argue with him. The director breathed a sigh of relief when she saw that Yikan did not get angry with her. Yes, Master Yi is really magnanimous. We will still be good colleagues in the future. Come, Master Yi, this is the regularization form, please fill it out. Yikan was not used to seeing the director's attitude make a 180-degree turn. It seemed as if he was the director and the director was a little follower. So, Yikan discussed with the director, "Director, you should still call me Xiao Yi as before. It's not appropriate for you to call me Master Yi in the hospital. He is a doctor, and he would rather everyone call him Dr. Yi, which would give him a sense of accomplishment." The director hurriedly shook his head. "No, no, 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 Master Yi, this is Miss Su's order, I can't disobey it. By the way, Master Yi, please have some tea. Don't dry your throat after talking so much." After speaking, the director poured Yikan a cup of tea and handed it to him. Yikan didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It turned out that it was that girl Su Ling who ordered it. No wonder the director was so respectful. After filling out the regularization form, Yikan felt relieved. From today on, he is a real doctor. He can now devote all his energy to realizing his ideal. However, he still works in the Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology, and he doesn't know when he will be able to use those difficult surgical skills that the system has rewarded him with. Originally, Yikan wanted to go to neurosurgery after graduation, but the director saw that he was very careful in his work, had great endurance, and was physically strong, so he assigned him to the Obstetrics and Gynecology department. Obstetrics and Gynecology needs these qualities in Yikan. When Yikan walked out of the director's office, he found that Wang Maimai, Zhang Lili, and Shui Yangyang, the three women who usually loved to stick to him, were all looking at him with tears in their eyes without saying a word. Yikan felt something was wrong, so he walked over and asked in confusion, "Sister Wang, Lili, Yangyang, what's wrong with you?" Logically, they should be cheering for his return, but why do they all act like they have been heartbroken? It would have been fine if Yikan didn't speak to them, but as soon as he started talking, they let out a sob and burst into tears, holding their heads. Yikan was completely confused. Why is she crying harder and harder? Hey, ladies, please stop crying, okay? If you don't know, you might think I bullied you. Tell me quickly, what happened to you? Maybe I can help you. Unexpectedly, the three women shouted at Yikan in grievance, "You can't help. Oh. Are you so angry?" It seems that something serious happened. Yikan thought that he should stop asking questions. If he asked too many questions, he would get into trouble again. Women are scary when they get angry, so never mess with animals that bleed for 7 days a month without dying. Then ladies, you guys go ahead and cry first. I'm going to do my own thing. Just pretend that I don't exist. Yikan wants to run away. Unexpectedly, the three women shouted at him in unison, "Don't leave." Yikan stopped, confused. "Ladies, what else do you have to do?" Wang Maimai spoke first, "Xiao Cancan, I'm heartbroken." Then, Zhang Lili and Shui Yangyang also answered at the same time, "I'm heartbroken too." When Yikan heard what they said, he wanted to laugh but didn't dare to. It's not a big deal, it's just a breakup. His ex-boyfriend even cheated him into marriage and took away 100,000 yuan. Is it as serious as his? Everyone is crying their hearts out, is it really that serious? Ladies, a broken heart is nothing. If the old doesn't go, the new won't come. Just think positively. Yikan could only advise them this way. However, as soon as he finished speaking, the three women cried even harder. "Yikan, you are our first love, but you are married. What's the point of asking us to get married?" Yikan was also drunk. These three women were really slow in getting information and only just found out that he was married. The key point is that he has nothing to do with them. Aren't they really good at adding drama to themselves? Well, ladies, do you have some misunderstandings about me? Without waiting for Yikan to explain to the three women, Wang Maimai pounced on him, "Xiao Cancan, I don't want you to marry someone else, marry me, and I will support you." Zhang Lili also ran over at this time and shook off Wang Maimai's hand. "Wang Maimai, senior brother is mine, get out of here." Shui Yangyang couldn't bear it anymore and pulled Wang Maimai and Zhang Lili aside. "Zhang Lili, Wang Maimai, do you have any shame? Upper is mine, don't snatch it from me." Yikan was fought over by three women and he felt like he was being torn into pieces. "Help, someone please save me." Yikan collapsed. Chapter 20 Husband, Kiss Me. In the evening, Su Ling drove her Rolls-Royce Phantom to their hospital to pick up Yikan after get off work on time. Wang Maimai, Zhang Lili, and Shui Yangyang, the three women, were so angry that they pouted, and were envious and jealous of Su Ling. "Oh, just accept your fate, the handsome guy has been taken away by the top goddess, and they have no hope." Su Ling came to the doctor's office and saw Yikan wearing glasses and a white coat, writing medical records with his head down. Her heart began to beat like a deer again. Wow, my silly brother looks so sexy in his professional attire. Fair and clean, tall and big, gentle and sincere, how could there be such a beautiful man in this world? How can I love him? Yikan was so absorbed in writing that he didn't notice Su Ling coming. The colleagues around him were quite excited. They all asked Su Ling for autographs. They took out their phones to take photos and posted them on a certain audio platform with the following captions. Some said that the goddess had come down to earth, so kind and not at all pretentious. Some said that the goddess in person was even more beautiful than on TV, and some said that Yikan must have saved the Milky Way in his previous life, and that he was lucky to marry such a perfect wife like the goddess in this life. Yikan was speechless about this. They all live in Su Ling's persona. If they knew the real Su Ling, they would still be in the mood to show off online. I guess after 3 months, he gets divorced and they won't envy him anymore and will ridicule him to death. After getting into Su Ling's car, Yikan discussed with Su Ling, "Wife, can you please stop picking me up from get off work? I just got a permanent job, and it's not good to be so high profile." Su Ling disagreed. She argued, it is natural for a wife to pick up her husband to go to get off work. What's wrong with that? If they have the ability, they can also pick up their husbands to go to get off work. She does more than just pick up and drop off Yikan to and from get off work. She also pampers Yikan in all kinds of ways. She is Su Ling's husband, and she wants to pamper him to the sky. Seeing Su Ling was so persistent, Yikan had no choice but to shut up. Anyway, Su Ling is the boss, and whatever Su Ling says is what he has to obey and not cross the line. If he crossed the line, Su Ling would make him pay the price, and he didn't want to ruin his future. It's just 3 months, it will pass if you just bear with it. Yikan comforted himself in this way, trying to be more open-minded. Seeing Yikan was silent, Su Ling felt that Yikan must be unhappy. Silly brother, if you are unhappy, just say it out loud, why keep it in your heart? But I'm his wife, so I should help him share his worries. So, Su Ling approached Yikan and said with a smile, "Husband, since you don't want me to pick you up from get off work, then I won't do it, okay? If you want to pamper your husband, you must not let him be unhappy and you must go along with him in everything." She is still waiting for this silly brother to fall in love with her within 3 months. Yikan thought he had heard it wrong. He looked at Su Ling in surprise. "Wife, are you following my wishes?" Su Ling looked determined and nodded. "Yes, I don't want my husband to be embarrassed." Yikan's breathing stagnated. Am I dreaming? For the first time, the domineering queen went along with me. Could it be that she really wants to marry me first and then fall in love with me? Yikan was increasingly confused about Su Ling's train of thought. The system started up at this time. Ding. Congratulations to their host for gaining the understanding of the goddess wife. Now their host is rewarded with a commendable courage. Please hurry up and use it. Yikan was confused. When I say the great beauty system, what do you mean by courage? Every time you reward me, could you be more specific and not so abstract? System. Well, the beautiful system is too lazy to pay attention to me again. I'd better shut up. After returning home, Su Ling took Yikan to the restaurant for dinner. There was a table full of expensive seafood, which Yikan had never eaten before. Wife, there's no need to be so extravagant for dinner. We can just have a home-cooked stir-fry and some millet porridge. It's pretty healthy. Yikan felt sorry for Su Ling's money. Su Ling took Yikan's hand and sat down, pointing at the dishes one by one and introducing them to Yikan. Honey, this is the lobster I specially had flown in from Boston today, this is the Angus flat oyster, and this is the Hokkaido seahorse. These are very good for your body. You should eat more. Yikan couldn't help swallowing a few times. Lydia Su wants me to replenish my body? Am I not a strong, handsome man with 8-pack abs? Why do you still want me to replenish my body? Remembering that he was a doctor, and looking at the kinds of seafood on the table, Yikan instantly understood what Su Ling wanted to give him. My kidneys are normal, okay? If my physical strength was not 0 in front of her, I would have been able to make her stand shoulder to shoulder with the sun. Alas, it's all tears if I talk too much. I guess I am the man who can endure the most suffering in the world. Can someone give me a Guinness record? Yikan had no words to express his pain. Su Ling did ask Yikan to nourish his kidneys. She also looks forward to one day being with Yikan. Even though Yikan has 8 abdominal muscles, he still looks very weak in front of her and he can't resist her every time. She hopes to be conquered by Yikan one day. Just thinking about that scene makes me feel so shy, exciting and expectant. Su Ling's little face was unconsciously flushed, and she was particularly charming in the ambiguous and romantic candlelight. Yikan didn't dare to stare at Su Ling anymore. He wouldn't be able to bear it if he continued. Just lower your head and eat. Just nourish your kidneys, wouldn't it be better to make them stronger? After dinner, Yikan asked Su Ling, "Wife, are we still sleeping in the same room tonight?" Su Ling answered decisively, "Of course, do we have to sleep in separate rooms?" After saying that, she got up and went to take a shower. Yikan sat on the bed in the bedroom, feeling nervous. Is Su Ling testing me? I sleep in the same bed with her, should I take the initiative? Just forget it and don't get yourself into trouble. What if Su Ling takes the initiative to me? Yikan was conflicted, as if he was going through a tribulation. The door suddenly opened, and Su Ling, who had just finished taking a shower, walked in wearing a white nightgown. The room was instantly filled with her fragrance, which made people dizzy. Yikan didn't look at Su Ling, so as not to do anything wrong. He lowered his head and went to the bathroom. Unexpectedly, Lydia Su blocked his way. Her two slender white arms wrapped around Yikan's neck. Yikan shuddered and felt numb all over. Oh my god, it's killing me. What is Su Ling doing? Yikan simply closed his eyes. Su Ling leaned very close to Yikan, her voice sweet and soft. "Hubby, kiss me." Yikan was shocked. Su Ling. She wants me to kiss her? What should I do? Countless thoughts flew through Yikan's mind. Eventually, he calmed down. Just stay calm and don't be fooled. Su Ling is testing you, and you have to stand the test. Well, honey, stop making trouble. Go to sleep first. I'm going to take a shower. Yikan wanted to take Su Ling's hand away, but he still had his eyes closed and didn't dare to open them. Lydia Su's eyes were too seductive, he was afraid that he would fall into them as soon as he saw them. Don't forget, Lydia Su had just finished a shower, she was as beautiful as a lotus in clear water, which man could resist that? Unexpectedly, Su Ling blocked Yikan's breathing without saying a word. Chapter 21, Little Girl, You Asked for This. Boom. Yikan felt like his brain exploded. A blank. I feel dizzy, I feel dizzy. Oh my god, Su Ling. She is kissing me actively. It's over. My body is going soft, numb, and tingling. Yikan's heartbeat lost its rhythm and kept pounding. It felt like a raging fire was burning inside my body, it was burning hot. Su Ling's little mouth is so soft, smooth, chewy, and sweet. She was still being naughty, using her little tongue to circle around and try to push my teeth open. How can this be some high and mighty goddess who is kept away from strangers? This is clearly a seductive and deadly little goblin. What should I do? What should I do? Should I open my mouth? I can't stand it anymore. Yikan was so conflicted, tormented, and itchy, it was killing him. The moment Su Ling kissed Yikan, he was also shocked. Oh my god, what am I doing? How could I take the initiative to kiss this silly brother? Humph, it's all because he is too handsome and has such a manly body. Especially late at night, when he stood under the lights, he looked so deep, so melancholy, and so sexy. How could I resist such temptation? Forget it, just kiss her. After all, he is my husband and I am his wife. It is natural for a wife to kiss her husband. Wow, silly brother's lips are so elastic and powerful. They are so comfortable to kiss, so soft and refreshing. I really want to eat them up bite by bite. The more Su Ling kissed, the more addicted she became. She really wanted to stick to Yikan's lips. The key point is that this silly brother didn't seem to respond, and kept using his teeth to stop her from taking a further step. Is it because I am not charming enough and cannot attract him? No, I must have this silly brother kiss me today. Su Ling reluctantly left Yikan's lips. She was very angry. Her small face, which was the size of a palm, was flushed red and her mouth was pouting. She looked like a kitten with its fur standing on end. Yikan, I have already kissed you, now it's your turn to kiss me. Yikan has the desire but not the courage to do it. He is afraid that if he makes a mistake, he will regret it for the rest of his life. Well, my dear wife, it's getting late. You should lie down first. I have to take a shower quickly. I have to go to work tomorrow. God knows what kind of inner struggle Yikan just went through. How much effort he had to put in to keep himself clear-headed and not fall into the pit. Seeing Yikan trying to escape, Su Ling pushed Yikan against the corner of the wall and surrounded Yikan with his two slender white arms, leaving Yikan nowhere to escape. She was so angry that her face turned even redder. Her two charming dimples rose and fell, and her mouth became even more pouty, like a ripe red cherry. If you take a bite of it, it would probably melt you with sweetness. Bar. 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 Yikan, what are you thinking about again? Stay calm, really stay calm. Yikan shook his head vigorously a few times, trying not to let his imagination run wild. He closed his eyes and didn't look at Su Ling in front of him. He didn't dare to look, because once he looked, his soul would be hooked by Su Ling. Su Ling used her fingers to open Yikan's eyelids, forcing Yikan to look at her, and commanded in a tone. Yikan, if you don't dare to kiss me today, it proves that you are gay and you have no interest in women. Yikan was immediately stimulated. Oh shit. Su Ling actually said that I am gay? Am I a handsome guy with 8-pack abs for nothing? Even when I'm taking a break, the banana leaves can't cover it. My sexual orientation is normal, right? With anger rising, Yikan warned Su Ling, Su Ling, don't talk nonsense, I'm normal. If you say that to me again, I'll be really angry with you. After saying this, Yikan suddenly became puzzled. Huh? Was I angry at Su Ling just now? Why am I not afraid of her? Su Ling felt secretly delighted when she saw Yikan getting anxious for her. Har har, it seems that my method of provoking is quite effective on this silly brother. Then I will stimulate him again and make him kiss me actively. You are gay, you like men. Yikan, I will post a notice online now, saying that my husband is a gay. After saying that, Lydiasu was about to get his phone. Yikan was really anxious. This little girl really thinks I'm gay. If this were to be posted online, wouldn't I be doxxed to death by her fans? Okay, Su Ling, you asked for this, I must severely punish you, you little devil. Stop it. Yikan suddenly pushed Su Ling down on the bed, and without waiting for Su Ling to react, his kiss fell like a storm. This kiss didn't matter. Yikan's masculinity, which had been suppressed for a long time, was instantly opened like Pandora's box, and it was out of control. Why is this little girl shy now? Wasn't it very offensive just now? Are you shocked by my charm? Okay, then I will shock her again and let her know how powerful my brother is. Yikan pushed open Su Ling's tightly clenched teeth. Su Ling was indeed shocked by Yikan this time. Oh my god, this silly brother is really good at it. I'm almost driven to death by him. I want to drown in his kiss. He has fallen, he has really fallen, what will he do next? Su Ling's heart was beating violently. She was nervous, scared, and excited. Yikan was too immersed in it. It was the first time he mustered up the courage to kiss the top goddess. It was so enjoyable. The fragrance lingered on his lips and teeth, and it was so soul-stirring. He finally understood what the system had rewarded him for his courage, and it was like this now. Moreover, he was pleasantly surprised to find that he was suppressing Su Ling at the moment, and his physical strength had recovered. Su Ling could no longer resist him, like a well-behaved little lamb. Hee, beautiful lady system, why do you pamper me so much? Now that my physical strength has recovered, should I let Su Ling belong to me completely next? Yikan remembered that on the first night he and Su Ling got their marriage certificate, the system rewarded him with an invincible golden gun. Unfortunately, Yikan thought too much that night and it was wasted. Then it might come in handy tonight. He must conquer this little goblin completely. Har har, I feel a sense of accomplishment just thinking about it. So, Yikan slowly moved away from Su Ling's lips. Su Ling was so embarrassed that her little face turned red. Yikan had a wicked smile on his face, and his big hand reached out to the collar of Su Ling's nightgown. Don't want. Unexpectedly, Su Ling screamed and kicked Yikan under the bed. Yikan suddenly felt as if he was doused with a basin of cold water, and all the heat in his body was extinguished completely. Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? Yikan was confused. Seeing Su Ling's strange eyes staring at him and his rapid breathing, Yikan was so scared that cold sweat broke out on his forehead. Huh? Why am I so exhausted again? Oh no, I made a mistake. Su Ling is going to kill me next. Chapter 22 Progress ahead of schedule, their wedding will be held tomorrow. System, beautiful system, why did you make my stamina value 0 again? Don't you know that Su Ling is a world-class boxing champion? If she punches me, my straight hair can become curved. Can you bear to see me being beaten into a lesbian by her? You have rewarded me for my courage and given me the golden gun, why don't you let me use it? Come out quickly. Ikan called the system, hoping that the system would help him quickly. Su Ling kept staring at him without moving his eyes. The room was eerily quiet, so fucking weird, and filled with a dangerous vibe. The system sounded at this time, and the gentle lady's voice complained about Ikan. Host, please keep quiet. If you keep beeping, the system will cancel all your rewards. Ikan was not convinced and refuted the system. You supported me and Lydia Su's relationship in the beginning, why did you make my stamina value 0 after I thought about it? The system explains slowly. The system did reward the host with the golden gun at the beginning, but the host had the will but not the courage to do it, so it was wasted. It is gone now. If the host wants to regain his golden spear, he needs to behave well and restore his physical strength step by step. As long as the host completely possesses the goddess wife, the system will reward the host with a full set of divine doctor skills. When Ikan heard that there was a full set of miracle doctor skills, he immediately became jealous. If I mastered the full set of miracle doctor skills, wouldn't I be comparable to Huertu or reincarnated? Isn't he this what I have been looking forward to for a long time? By then, who would dare to look down on me? Beautiful lady system, let's talk it over nicely. You've reduced my stamina to 0, so how can I completely possess Su Ling? You said to look at my performance, so how should I perform to restore my physical strength? The system criticized Ikan. Host, do you have no brains? Do you need to ask me how to behave? Don't you know I'm very busy? Ikan felt as if a crow flew over his head, leaving countless ellipsis marks behind. Well, you are the system, you are the boss, and you are in charge. Then you should at least tell me, if I perform well, how much physical strength will you restore for me each time? As for the miracle doctor skill, will you reward me in batches or all at once? The system popped up a question mark in Ikan's mind, indicating that she was thinking. Well, it depends on my mood. In short, host, you just need to perform well. If you perform well, your reward will be upgraded. If you perform poorly, I will not only deduct your reward, but also punish you. Ikan was also drunk by the system. What? It depends on your mood. What if one day I perform well but you are in a bad mood and don't reward me with anything? Won't that make me at a disadvantage? System. Well, the system is too lazy to pay attention to me again. You can't mess with beautiful women, you have to treat them with respect. If you don't provide for it, you will be tortured to the point where not even a bone will be left. Well, the key is that I have to provide for both of them. Ikan could only accept his fate and just keep supporting him. The most important thing is to keep your job as a doctor and realize your great ideal. Su Ling was still staring at Ikan without saying a word. In fact, her heart was pounding and her body was burning hot. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to die. This silly brother is really good at it. It was so satisfying, exciting and enjoyable just now. My silly brother not only kissed me, but also. But why did I suddenly get scared and actually kicked him off the bed? Is it because I have no experience? Did I take him the first time? Su Ling's mind was in a mess right now, and she didn't know what she was doing. Seeing Ikan in a daze, she became a little angry again. Why doesn't his silly brother take the initiative? If I resist him, he should be more excited and want to conquer me more. Ikan, please pounce on me quickly, show your previous manliness and pounce on me hard, and take me completely. Hurry up, Ikan, hurry up. Ikan noticed the change in Su Ling's eyes and became more and more uneasy. Is this girl thinking about how to punish me next? What's in this room? Ikan didn't dare to think any further. The more he thought about it, the more indescribable the scene became. A cold wind blew through his pants. In order to save his life, Ikan smiled and said tentatively, my dear wife, are you hungry? I'll go cook you a bowl of noodles. Don't mention what happened just now. Bringing up something that is not related to the previous incident will only add fuel to the fire for this little girl. I have to change the subject, distract her and let her calm down, only then can I be safe. Su Ling thought Ikan had come to his senses and knew that she was waiting for him to pounce on her. As a result, this silly brother actually wanted to cook noodles for her. Crazy. Why doesn't he cook himself for me to eat? This silly brother is so silly yet cute that I love and hate him at the same time. Su Ling was helpless with Yi Can. What could she do to a handsome guy with low emotional intelligence? How could she beat such a handsome guy with 8-pack abs? She couldn't bear to let him go, so she had to continue to pamper him. Forget it, I'll just slowly enlighten this silly brother. You can't eat hot tofu in a hurry. I kissed him first, so I can't just pounce on him, right? He was already quite distant from me. What if I was too proactive and scared him away? After comforting himself in this way, Su Ling's anger subsided. However, in order to punish Yi Can, she stood up. Her palm-sized red face turned cold and her tone was also cold and indifferent. I'm hungry, go cook noodles for me, I want noodles with tomato sauce. After saying that, Lydia Su went to the study. The erotic scene of Yi Can kissing her just now was still surfacing in her mind, and her heartbeat was still very fast. She couldn't stay with Yi Can any longer, she was afraid that she would lose control and really eat Yi Can. So, she should calm down alone for a while. Today, she happened to sign a razor advertisement for a century-old brand, and she went to the study to take a good look at the slogan. When Yi Can saw that Su Ling did not punish him but just asked him to cook noodles, he finally breathed a sigh of relief. Just cook noodles. Cooking noodles is what I am best at. Better than eating her fist. Soon, Yi Can went to the kitchen to cook a bowl of tomato noodles and brought it to Su Ling's study. Wife, the noodles are ready. Su Ling was instantly amazed by the noodles cooked by Yi Can. Is this noodles? This is simply a work of art. The snow-white noodles were arranged in a circle and spread on the rosy broth. The eggs were fried into a heart shape with a tomato cut into arrow shapes pierced through the middle. Wow, is this Cupid's arrow? Is this silly brother telling me through this bowl of noodles whether he has shot his heart into me? Unexpectedly, he is quite romantic. Yi Can didn't think of using Cupid's arrow on Su Ling. He used to cook noodles for his sister, and in order to make her happy, he made them into this shape. Although Su Ling is a top goddess and is admired by everyone, Yi Can feels, after a brief contact with her, that she is essentially still a little girl. After all, she is younger than him and can be considered his little sister. Smelling the delicious noodles, Su Ling, who was not hungry originally, is now hungry. She slurped the noodles and finished them in a few minutes. So full. I didn't expect that this silly brother is not only a great kisser, but also a great cook. Did I find a treasure boy? No, I have to speed up. I must not let anyone snatch my silly brother away. Su Ling walked up to Yi Can and said firmly, Husband, I've decided. We will hold the wedding tomorrow and not wait until the 5th of next month. Yi Can's eyes widened in shock. The wedding is tomorrow? How did this girl advance the progress? Then won't I be able to meet the scumbag Xia An'an and the adulterer Yang Wei tomorrow? Chapter 23. The groom is missing. On the top floor of the tallest and most luxurious hotel in the world, celebrities from all over the world gathered here, waiting to watch the century wedding of top goddess Su Ling and the poor doctor with no money and no background. In a corner of the lobby, Bo, dressed in a suit and tie, was sitting at the bar, drinking alone. Whenever he looked up, he would always catch a glimpse of the eye-catching big red wedding character, which made him feel depressed. Isn't this Master Murong? Su Haitao saw Bo sitting there and hurried over with the red wine. Bo looked back upon hearing the voice, forced a smile at Su Haitao, shook the wine glass in his hand, and greeted Su Haitao, Uncle Su, hello. Su Haitao pretended to be depressed and said to Bo, hey. My niece is really blind. She didn't want to marry a handsome and rich young man like you, but insisted on following a poor doctor who is a gigolo. Bo had pursued Su Ling a lot in the past, giving her luxury cars, mansions, jewelry and so on. He would even go to whichever country Su Ling went to participate in a competition. He knelt down in front of the audience all over the world to propose to Su Ling countless times, but Su Ling rejected him every time. Bo was even more shocked when he learned that Su Ling suddenly announced her marriage, and that she was marrying a poor man but holding such a grand wedding. But a top goddess is a top goddess, with all kinds of world championship titles. She said she would hold a wedding and she held it. In just one night, everything was arranged properly and gloriously. As soon as the invitations were sent out, everyone came without any hesitation. Some came to congratulate sincerely, some came to see he can make a fool of himself, and some came out of unwillingness. For example, Bo was unwilling to give in. After hearing Su Haitao's words, he didn't say anything, but just picked up another glass of wine, raised his head, and drank it all in one gulp. Su Haitao knew that Murongbo was sad for Su Ling, and a hint of cunning flashed in his eyes. Master Murong, to be honest, we all saw how crazy and dedicated you were in pursuing Ling Ling. In the eyes of our Su family, no one is worthy of our Ling Ling except you. What's the use of that rubbish, Yikan? If I were you, I would definitely not lose to that loser so easily. I can't let myself be humiliated, right? Su Haitao had just been removed from the hospital's shareholders by Mr. Su, so he couldn't do anything big to Yikan for the time being, but he could use Murongbo to deal with Yikan and vent his anger for him. Murongbo remained silent, but he smashed the wine glass with one hand, then walked to his seat without looking back and sat down. As time passed, people gradually returned to their seats and sat down. The bride Su Ling has not appeared yet, and the groom Yikan has not arrived either. There were discussions around. Hey, have you heard that their husband Su Ling found is a pauper? What was she thinking? That's right. To become famous, he even posted the footage of treating an old man online. He really knows how to attract traffic. Not only is he taking advantage of the traffic, he's also a gigolo. He wants a villa and a car, and even lets Lydia Su drive him to and from get off work. How shameless. A lot of that loser's rivals are here today, so it's going to be a good show. The reason why others despised Yikan so much was all because of the rumors that Su Haitao had secretly spread before. At this moment, an old man in a tuxedo slowly walked to the center of the stage. He was the master of ceremonies presiding over the wedding ceremony. Dear guests, please keep quiet. The hall was suddenly silent. Everyone knows that the bride and groom will appear next. Thank you all distinguished guests for taking time out of your busy schedule to come here to attend the wedding ceremony of Ms. Su Ling and Mr. Yikan. Now let us invite the groom, Mr. Yikan, and the bride, Ms. Su Ling, to come on stage. As soon as the host finished speaking, the lights brightened, the music started playing, and Su Ling, wearing a white floor-length wedding dress and a diamond crown on her head, walked into the venue with an elegant and calm pace, her aura overwhelming everyone. Everyone was immediately stunned by Su Ling in front of them. She really is like a goddess descending. Standing there, you will see a pure and flawless snow lotus blooming on the top of an iceberg, cold, beautiful and aloof. So beautiful. Only Su Ling can be so cold and beautiful. Even if she doesn't smile, I feel like my soul could be seduced away by her beauty. I'm so fucking jealous of that poor boy. Is he so lucky to have found a goddess as beautiful as Lydia Su? Murongbo stared at Su Ling, who was standing high above him. She was so beautiful that it was breathtaking. His jealousy and resentment towards Yikan grew stronger. He really couldn't accept it. Looking at Su Ling's stunning beauty and her unique temperament, everyone was even more puzzled. Why would such a top beauty fall in love with a poor man who lived off her? Why does Yikan do that? Everyone hated Yikan with gnashing teeth. Could it be that even though they were famous, wealthy and had a high status, they were still worse than a waste? The bride has appeared, but the groom is nowhere to be seen. The MC didn't know what was going on, so he coughed lightly to ease the awkward atmosphere. Then, he solemnly announced, "Please welcome the groom, Mr. Yikan." Yikan still didn't show up. Su Ling's expression was still cold, but her brows were slightly frowned. She didn't know why Yikan didn't come out. Today is her wedding with Yikan, and it is being broadcast live around the world. Almost everyone in the world is watching. Where did the silly brother go? Don't you know that today is my wedding ceremony with him? He won't go back on his word and run away with another girl, right? Humph, if he dares to leave me here alone and humiliate me, I will never let him go. Su Ling was unsure and a little angry. However, in order to maintain her perfect image as a top goddess, she still remained quite calm. She would have to wait and see, the so-called wait and see approach. Seeing that Yikan was still nowhere to be seen, the MC raised his voice again, "Please welcome the groom, Mr. Yikan." The door remained closed and did not move at all. Could it be that the groom himself felt that he was a loser and could not be presentable, so he ran away at the last minute? Wouldn't it be better if the idiot didn't come? The bride could just throw the ball to choose a husband on the spot. Stop throwing the ball, let's hold a competition to select a prince consort. Who among you here is not rich or noble, and is proficient in all kinds of martial arts? There was another uproar in the audience. Most of them were laughing at Yikan for being a coward, and at the same time they were hoping that Su Ling could turn the wedding into a scene for selecting a prince consort. Su Ling's hands holding the bouquet gradually tightened, and she became more anxious. What is going on? Where on earth did the silly brother go? Did he really desert the battlefield? Caught off guard, Murongbo stood up and said loudly to Su Ling. Su Ling, since the groom is such a coward, you should divorce him right now. Who among us who are here wouldn't give that coward a slap in the face? You can come up with any test conditions you want. We'll compete, and whoever wins will marry you on the spot. Unexpectedly, those people all agreed with Murongbo's suggestion, and echoed in unison, divorce your husband, choose a husband. Divorce your husband, choose a husband. Divorce your husband, choose a husband. The calls are getting louder and louder. Su Ling was overwhelmed and shouted anxiously in his heart. Ikan, where have you been? Are you trying to drive me crazy? You silly brother. You stinky brother. You bad brother. If you don't show up again, I'll make you pay. Chapter 24 Jumping from the Top. Divorce your husband, choose a husband. Divorce your husband, choose a husband. Everybody is still making a noise. Guests, please be quiet. Please be quiet. The MC held the microphone and shouted until his voice was hoarse, but he still couldn't control the chaotic scene. Su Ling, who was as steady as a rock, took a step forward and roared at the audience, "Shut up." The next second, the place fell into complete silence. When the goddess roars, the world will shake. The aura is so strong. Then, her eyes became extremely sharp, her beautiful face became even colder, and her voice was as cold as ice. Today is the wedding ceremony of Xia An'an. My groom is Xia, not anyone else. Whoever makes trouble again will get out. As soon as he finished speaking, the door opened and Xia hurried in. I saw that he was sweating profusely and was out of breath due to exhaustion. However, Xia looks even taller and more handsome in the groom's suit. He is the kind of person who is full of sunny youthfulness, yet calm and powerful maturity. He is so tasteful, charming and sexy. Those female stars, single female rich men, and even the wives of the rich, all blushed and their hearts beat fast when they saw the handsome Xia, and they couldn't help but cheer. Wow, the groom is so handsome. Isn't he so handsome? Lydia Su is so lucky to have such a good appetite. I envy her so much. If I had such a handsome husband, even if he was a pauper, I would be willing to support him for the rest of his life. The male guests all sneered at the infatuated woman. A bunch of vulgar women. It's not just vulgar, it's simply lustful. I think they are just a bunch of hungry female perverts. A female model glared at the bunch of stinky men and said, "If you have the guts, show us how handsome you are. You are just jealous of Xia, humph." When Su Ling saw Xia finally arrived, she secretly breathed a sigh of relief. This silly brother finally came. I was so scared. I thought he didn't want me anymore. But why is he so tired? Forget it, I'll wait for him to calm down and let him talk himself. I have to stay calm. Xia finally calmed down. He apologized to Su Ling first. "I'm sorry, honey. I'm late." Without waiting for Su Ling to speak, Murongbo in the audience rebuked Xia. "As Su Ling's groom, you are late for the wedding ceremony. Do you know the rules?" Since this was a global live broadcast, especially the live broadcast of the wedding of top goddess Su Ling, and the groom was a poor boy who lived with his wife's family and was late, Xia found that the number of people watching the live broadcast increased rapidly, the barrage of comments also exploded, and the screen was almost blocked. Let's have a showdown between a poor son-in-law and his rich rival. I want to see how the goddess punishes the prince consort for being late. Rich rival, hurry up and grab the wedding, make this wedding more intense and exciting. In short, there are all kinds of comments, and those who watch the show don't mind making trouble. Xia sighed in his heart. I guess all the brands that sponsored my and Su Ling's wedding are secretly happy behind my back, right? Who is Su Ling? She's a top goddess. Who am I, Xia? I'm a poor doctor, but I'm very popular on TikTok. These two big names with great commercial value have brought unexpected exposure to their brands, which is real money. Of course, if the sponsors make money, Su Ling also makes money, because it was Su Ling's idea to broadcast the wedding live around the world. You know, this girl is a very business-minded person. Seeing that Xia didn't respond, Murongbo was a little annoyed. Hey! I'm talking to you, can you hear me? How could Xia not hear what Murongbo said? However, he didn't know this guy. As soon as he arrived, this guy started yelling at him. Why was he so arrogant? His wife hasn't said anything yet, what is an outsider talking about? Xia smiled symbolically at Murongbo. Brother Zebra, don't get excited. I am the groom, not you. When Murongbo heard Yikan call him Zebra, he immediately got angry. Who are you calling Zebra? Are you blind? Don't you know I am Murongbo? Yikan responded calmly, excuse me, brother. You are wearing a zebra print outfit. Don't you look like a zebra? I have never heard of Murongbo, but I have heard of Murongfu. Are you his descendant? Are you also afraid of Duan Yu's 6 Meridians divine sword? The people around were actually amused by Yikan's words. The barrage exploded again at this time. I guess Yikan also knows the 6 Meridians divine sword, har har har. He should also be able to do the Lingbo Weibu. Isn't it said that the groom is a poor boy? The last favorite disciple of the beggar sect leader is probably Yikan. When it comes to wild imagination, netizens are still the best. Su Ling was almost amused by what Yikan said to Murongbo, but fortunately, she had a strong ability to control her emotions and remained calm. But ripples had already begun to form in her heart. I didn't expect this silly brother to be so humorous. I discovered another good thing about him. What should I do? I love him even more. Murongbo was so angry that his face turned red and his neck became thick. He pointed at Yikan angrily, you fucking. Yikan interrupted him, hey, brother, wait a minute, let me explain to everyone why I'm late. Then, he politely explained to everyone, I'm really sorry, everyone. On my way to the elevator, I ran into an elderly man who had a heart attack. In order to rescue the elderly, I was delayed for some time. Please bear with me. There was a hint of admiration and worship in Su Ling's eyes when he looked at Yikan. It turns out that her silly brother was late for the wedding because he was saving someone. A doctor has a kind heart. Good job, silly brother. Su Ling gave Yikan a thumbs up in his heart. Suddenly, the door opened again, and the old man who was rescued by Yikan walked towards Yikan excitedly and held Yikan's hand tightly. Thank you, young man. If you hadn't saved me just now, I would have died. Thank you. Yikan maintained his usual modest attitude, old sir, saving lives and healing the wounded is what we doctors should do. You must take care of yourself and don't get angry or do strenuous exercise again. The old man was afraid that the bride would blame Yikan, so he explained the situation to Su Ling. Su Ling said to the old man with concern, Old man, thank you for your affirmation of my husband. Now that you are here, please attend our wedding. Come and sit here. Upon learning that Yikan was late for the wedding because of saving someone, many guests expressed their understanding. But Murongbo was never willing to give in. He simply jumped to the center of the stage and challenged Yikan, since you are Su Ling's husband, then you must accept my challenge and prove to the whole world that you are not a waste. Otherwise, you are not worthy of being Su Ling's husband. The person Su Ling hates the most is Murongbo. But Murongbo has close business dealings with the Su family, so she cannot turn against Murongbo. However, if she wanted Murongbo to completely give up on her and stop pestering her, she had to rely on Yikan to slap Murongbo in the face, making Murongbo admit defeat sincerely and admit that he was not as good as Yikan. Seeing that Su Ling didn't say anything, Yikan guessed that Su Ling wanted him to prove that he was not a waste. The key this time is not to prove it to Su Ling alone, but to the whole world. If he is careless, he will become the laughingstock of the whole world. Forget it, just go for it and prove it. A real man should dare to act and take responsibility. Yikan plucked up his courage and made up his mind. He approached Murongbo and said with great aura, Tell me what you want to challenge, I will accept it. Murongbo opened the window and pointed down, This floor is the highest floor in the world. Do you dare to jump from here? Yikan leaned forward slightly, took a look outside, and his heart skipped a beat. Oh shit. It's so fucking high, so fucking scary. If I jump down, I will definitely be scared to death. Murongbo is not challenging me, but wants me to die. Chapter 25 Wake up. I am about to die. The barrage exploded again at this time. I guess Yikan's inner thoughts are, how can such a small trick be difficult for me? I am Spider-Man, I can spin silk and fly over walls. The one upstairs who said it was Spider-Man, you should put a tights on Yikan first to show off his perfect manly curves. Isn't Spider-Man a student? Yikan graduated a long time ago. I think he is a super talent. He should put on sexy little red underwear and fly down. Let's be serious. Murongbo is a champion in various extreme sports. He will definitely dare to jump. As for Yikan, I'm not sure. In short, some viewers watching the live broadcast bet that Yikan dared to jump, while others bet that Yikan did not dare to jump. If Yikan dares to jump, it proves that he can accept extreme challenges and is a real man. If Yikan didn't dare to jump, it would prove that he was a waste in front of Murongbo, and it would also bring shame to Su Ling. Su Ling didn't expect Murongbo to be so excessive that he actually wanted Yikan to jump from the top floor. Murongbo is the champion of various extreme challenge projects, so of course he is not afraid of anything. The key point is that Yikan is not the same. Isn't he this clearly bullying my stupid brother? So Su Ling looked at Murongbo with cold eyes, his tone was icy. Murongbo, you let people jump down without even a rope. Isn't it obvious that you want to kill people? If you are not a waste, why don't you just jump down? If it weren't for the global live broadcast, in order to protect his own image, Su Ling really wanted to punch Murongbo away at this moment, so that he wouldn't cause trouble here and get in their way. Murongbo smiled cunningly and said confidently, Lydiasu, I definitely dare to jump, otherwise, why would I issue this challenge to Yikan? Of course, when you are about to land, the people below must prepare air cushions. You can't really let yourself fall into a pulp, right? Also, during the entire landing process, you have to keep your eyes open and never close them. When landing on the air cushion, you also have to see who lands faster and who can stand up first. After stepping off the air cushion, see who doesn't shake and doesn't vomit. Although Murongbo said so much, in fact, he has never jumped from the highest level in the world, but relying on his championship titles in various extreme events, he is confident that he can meet those demanding requirements. As for Yikan, he didn't take him seriously at all, as he had already seen that Yikan was afraid of heights. Today, he was determined to make Yikan become a complete waste in front of the audience all over the world. When Yikan saw Su Ling defending him in front of the whole world, he was deeply moved. She is worthy of being my, Yikan's, wife. She is absolutely crazy about protecting her husband. However, Yikan quickly changed his mind. This little girl is a top goddess, and she is a perfect person in the eyes of the public. It is not difficult to guarantee that she protects me in order to maintain her own perfect personality and has high hopes for me, hoping that I will not be looked down upon by those bastards who look down on others, let alone embarrass her. The problem is, this is the highest level in the world. Yi Sanguang feels dizzy and his legs go weak when he looks down. In the past, he would get tingling all over when riding an ordinary roller coaster. If he jumped from the highest building in the world, he would probably be scared to death as soon as he jumped. Seeing that Yikan didn't say anything, Su Ling guessed that Yikan was afraid. The silly brother must be afraid of heights, otherwise he wouldn't have said nothing. No, I can't let Murongbo embarrass my silly brother. This challenge is unreasonable. If you want to compete, you can compete in something else, such as fighting. Su Ling remembered that Yikan had a fighting competition with her younger brother Su Ze last time, and Yikan won Su Ze beautifully. Therefore, she wanted Yikan to accept challenges that suited his strengths and that must be beneficial to Yikan. When Yikan saw Su Ling asking Murongbo to change the challenge project, he couldn't help but sigh secretly. Hey, Su Ling still hopes that I can defeat that guy Murongbo, otherwise, why doesn't she just cancel the challenge? It seems that Su Ling was under a lot of pressure to marry me. After all, she and I are not from the same world. She is high above, surrounded by stars, and is the apple of everyone's eye, while I am just a small grass growing hard in the cracks. Su Ling is hoping her husband will become successful. Murongbo looked at the silent Yikan and said provocatively, Hey! Mr. Yi, why don't you say anything? What kind of man are you if you let a woman help you out? Do you dare to jump down from the top floor? Do you dare? Before Yikan answered, the barrage of comments started to respond enthusiastically. Young and hard-working man, just say you dare. Don't be afraid of that wealthy upstart. Destroy him. In my opinion, let the goddess punch that Murongbo away. What's the point of challenging or not? I have the final say on my wedding. The one upstairs, you are woman, right? Do you think handsome men can get a golden ticket to immunity from death? Brother, the fact that you can say that proves that you must be very ugly. I'm not your elder brother, I'm your uncle. The guests at the scene also became anxious and shouted in unison, Dance! 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 Su Ling was worried that Yikan couldn't handle it, so she tried to stop Murongbo, but Yikan grabbed her hand and said firmly, Honey, there's no need to change the challenge, just jump, it's no big deal. Su Ling couldn't bear to see Yikan suffer that kind of torture, especially when he jumped down without a rope around his body. For someone like Ikan who was a novice in extreme sports, it was undoubtedly seeking death. Hubby, please don't. Ikan had made up his mind. He interrupted Su Ling and said, Wife, don't worry. I will never embarrass you. I am not a waste either. This time, he was completely determined. Even though he is afraid of heights, he can't give in. Ikan felt that he would collapse as soon as he finished jumping, and the shadow in his heart would keep him unable to get out of bed for a year or two. When Murongbo saw Ikan accepted the challenge, a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. I didn't expect this poor guy to have some courage. Har har, so what? He is no match for me at all. Today I will scare him to pee his pants. Since you've accepted the challenge, I'll add one more thing. The loser has to crawl under the crotch of the winner and say as he crawls, I'm a dog and I love to crawl into holes. Ikan couldn't help laughing. Murongbo was a little confused when he saw Ikan smiling. Why are you laughing? Ikan held back his laughter and replied in a casual manner, There's nothing to laugh at, I just know who you are and what you like to do. He. There was laughter all around. Because of Ikan's reminder, they realized that Murongbo said that he was a dog who loved to dig holes before he even started competing with Ikan. Murongbo was furious when he found himself being tricked by Ikan. Hurry up and jump. After you jump, I will let you know whether you are a dog or not. After saying that, Murongbo put on a helmet and goggles, stood on the windowsill, and prepared to jump. Ikan's heartbeat was quickening. For now, he could only go ahead with it. Suddenly, he remembered the system. Oh, don't I still have a system? How could I have forgotten this? System, beautiful system, please come out quickly, eliminate my fear, and grant me the skills of extreme sports. Big beauty system. Hey! Why are you silent again? Did you take a beauty nap? Wake up quickly, I'm about to die.